Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Dustin Fox and Jason Lloyd. I'm Adam the Bull, and we got a ton on the docket today, fellas. Mike, Anthony, and Steve on the other side of the glass. The Indiana Pacers with a wild game one. We got stats aplenty on what the Pacers did and how unique that is. We've got, obviously, there's always something to talk about with the Browns. Shedeur Sanders talked, position battles. The Guardians split a doubleheader. That and a whole lot more. Mike, what do you got for us?
It's a big show for us today, guys. A couple of reasons. A, this is the second time we are attempting now a foot pedal. I can talk with both hands now.
Wow.
I can look up stuff with both hands. The first time we tried it, there was that annoying clicking noise.
There is a noise, too.
I don't hear it.
I'm hearing a faint. The problem is, we got to hear you talk, we have to turn up our headsets so loud that now I'm hearing like a humming sound.
Do you guys hear a humming sound?
And then
Jason
if we have a guest, we got to turn it all the way down because they're louder than you are. But it is what it is. Go ahead.
Well, we'll find out. We don't
I
have
don't
a
think
guest
the humming
today.
sound's going over the air.
I don't hear any clicking.
Yeah, no clicking.
No
Definitely
clicking. But Jason and Dustin, do you hear humming?
Well, I know what Bull's saying.
I don't really hear the humming.
It's the humming is only because we have to turn it up so loud.
Really
it's like
loud. I don't think it has anything to do with
No, it's just in our ear. It's
a work in progress.
Yeah,
it's
but
fine.
there's no clicking. That's a start.
Yeah.
And we'll see if this is a better overall process to allow the producer to talk and look things up simultaneously. But we got a big show. A crazy Pacers comeback. We got ESPN rookie stat projections. And a question I'm very curious to get your guys' opinions on, and I'm curious to see what the chat has to say. But whether or not you can coach or teach toughness, or if that's just something a player and a person is born with or inherently not. So that's some of the stuff we're going to dive into today. And let's just get right into it because we have such a big show. And our first topic is brought to us by FanDuel. Guys, the NBA playoffs are in full swing every night, delivering highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and then win big. New to FanDuel? Well, right now is the perfect time to sign up. You can head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
And speaking of fans, thanks to all the fans. Yesterday, we just hit 60,000 subscribers for the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I think there's less than 2% of all YouTube channels that have 60,000 subscribers, maybe less than 1%.
I will look it up. I'm curious what number would be higher. The Pacers' chances of winning a game down 14 points with 2.5 minutes left, or the number of YouTube channels that have 60,000 subscribers?
Definitely number of YouTube subscribers because it had never happened before.
Good point.
The Pacers, I saw.
They're like zombies, Jason. It was your term. Go ahead. It's crazy.
I use vampires. Yeah, they're vampires, man. You can't kill these guys. The win percentage was expected win rate was like 99.7% for the Knicks when the Pacers came back. I mean, this is what they do. It was funny. I showed you guys in our group chat with the Athletic. It's a Slack. It's the live blog on the Athletic, and the guy who covers the Knicks for us, James Edwards, said in like the third quarter the Knicks can put this one away. Yeah. And Eric Neem covers the Bucks for us, but is helping out in the series. He's like, James, I've seen this team too many times.
Yeah, that was a stupid call.
You don't put this team away until the final buzzer sounds. And sure enough, to watch them come back. I didn't really lock into the game until like late third quarter.
Yeah.
I told you guys, Leslie went to Denver. I had to take my wife to the airport last night and came back and getting kids, doing things. So I didn't lock in until like late third, early fourth. And then, I mean, they just did exactly what they did to the Cavs. They just hit key shots late. The Knicks had a couple boneheaded plays. Hart slipped on inbounds and almost turned it over there. Yeah. And then was it Brunson? Who was it that just like panic bounce passed it
It was
down.
Brunson.
Yeah, it was
It was
Brunson.
Brunson.
Unbelievable.
Shocking.
So they got away with that, and then they still lost the game. And
Yeah,
obviously the Halliburton choke sign was
Brunson
incredible.
twice had turnovers because the ball goes off his fingertips and they
Yeah.
challenge it.
Yeah.
20 seconds to go in
Yeah,
overtime.
you're right. I forgot about that
And that
one.
was costly because
Yeah.
they were just down 1 at that
Yeah.
point in time.
And then Halliburton does the choke sign
is
on
amazing.
its high.
I mean,
on its
come on.
high.
Yeah.
He thinks it's a game winner.
Yeah.
And the Knicks fans are telling him two.
Yeah.
Two. Like, it was incredible that they knew right away.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was a 3. I
did
thought
I.
game was over.
Yeah.
That ball was in the air forever.
Oh, it reminded me of the Kawhi. Remember the Kawhi? It was an elimination
Eastern
game.
Conference,
Yes.
Game 7,
Toronto,
Philadelphia.
Philly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Toronto
Corner,
at the
corner.
buzzer. Corner 3, Kawhi, and it
Yep.
bounces on the rim and then boom, drops in. With the high bounce last night, that was I don't know how many Cavs fans watched. I get it. Like if you
Yeah.
couldn't stomach it and you're checked out and
Right.
you don't want to watch it, I totally get it. But that was a phenomenal game last night.
I was like you. I mean, I wasn't paying attention till late in the game, and then I put it on for, I don't know, I think I watched the last 6 minutes of the game. I hadn't watched. I was following the score, but I wasn't. I'm like, whatever. I'm not going to watch. But then, and I'm glad I put it on. Everybody got sucked. If you put it on, you got sucked in. And
Nesmith scored 20 points in the final 5 minutes of
Yeah.
the fourth quarter. It's
Yeah.
the most points any player has ever scored in the history
They-
of a playoff game in the final 5 minutes.
they set
Aaron
so many
Nesmith.
records. That's a record. They coming into this postseason, what was it? Only one team had ever come back from a 7-point deficit in the final 45 seconds of a game, and they've done it once in each round of the playoffs. And I believe
This one's incredible.
the 996-0.
No.
No, this was the one I sent you guys.
Yeah.
Since 96-97, teams that have trailed by 7 or more points in the final 50 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime in the playoffs are 4 and 1,702 in NBA
Right.
postseason history.
Yeah,
Indiana
and
has
they've
3
done-
of those wins.
They got 2,
this
3,
year.
and 4. All this. There's another stat I saw today. I mentioned it to Dustin earlier.
Yeah, I know. I saw it last
They were
night.
teams that were down 14 with 2:45 or less to go, had 0 wins, 996 losses in that scenario, and the Pacers won. I think it was 996, and that's
994. According to your text this morning, 994.
Yeah, I believe that's since 97 or whatever. 'cause
97,
That's
correct.
when they started doing detailed play-by-play. So I mean, it's just crazy.
I want to ask you guys, after seeing that last night, and I'm curious what the fans think on this too, after seeing a comeback like that, after all of us praised New York last series for being tough,
Yeah.
being physical, not crumbling when Tatum went out, not taking their foot off the gas, being able to close out the series, does it change your opinion at all on what happened in the Cavs-Pacers series, knowing this has now happened not just to Cleveland but to Milwaukee and New York as well?
Absolutely not. It doesn't change my opinion at all that the Cavs are a gutless basketball team. You guys?
Well, I mean, I don't even know that the Cavs are gutless. I mean, the Cavs had some unfortunate circumstances with the injuries again this year. It would have been a different series, I think, if everyone was healthy. But it doesn't matter. It is what it is. No, it doesn't change my opinion of it. I mean, the Pacers beat our ass. I mean, they did to us what they did to the Knicks last night.
And the
in final
series is
3
not
months.
over.
Right.
This series is not over.
This is
So
game 1.
Yeah.
Now, when the Pacers did the Cavs in game 2, a lot of Kobe and others have said that it was devastating.
Right.
And it flipped the entire series. So now let's see. There is a lot of basketball left to play.
All I
got
to say is I don't want to be a team playing the Pacers right now because no matter how big a lead you get, you're thinking in the back of your head, these guys come back against everybody.
Yeah.
18 points, no problem. 20 points, no problem.
Yeah.
They do it.
It
They've
is
done
crazy.
it multiple times this postseason.
Yeah.
And so, if you're in the Knicks, if you get up 25 points in the first half, you're like, we better get
Better
up
be
40.
30. Yeah.
I mean, part of that stat, the 4 and 1702 or whatever, is that's just the evolution of the 3-point shot.
Right.
More than anything.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, up until 10 years ago, this never would have happened.
Right.
You
But
know?
even in the last 5 years,
it's
not that many,
Right.
it's such a small, for them to do it once in each series.
It's incredible.
It's
Yeah.
just crazy. So has it changed your mind at all about the Cavs?
No, I want to see how the rest of the series plays
Right,
out.
right.
Because game 2 shouldn't have had any bearing on how badly they got blown off the floor in game 4. That was embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, you're going to find out the Knicks' mental toughness now. You talk mental toughness.
Yeah.
That's a hard way to open a series.
Oh, my God,
When you
yes.
think you got that in the bag, and now you got to come back.
Right.
And you're at home.
Yeah.
You better win that one.
Yep.
You better not go down 0-2 and be in the same position the Cavs were in. You better have this thing 1-1 going back to Indiana. So I want to see how the rest of the series plays out. But, I mean, hey, full credit to the Pacers, man. I remember when they did it to the Bucks in Game 5, and I thought, man, the Bucks just choked that away.
Yeah.
And then they did it to the Cavs, and you think the Cavs lost the game. They couldn't get the ball over half court. And that's still true. Get the ball over half court, guys.
Yeah, right.
Make an inbounds pass. Like, you know, all of that is still true. But you have to give the Pacers credit, obviously, to do this to 3 teams now, including the 1-seed, a 64-win team. You know, a team with championship DNA in the Bucks. I overrated them this year, hand up. They weren't as good as I thought they were going to be.
No, but they still have one of the 3 best players in the league.
Absolutely. And now to do this in Madison Square Garden,
right,
which is one of the top 3 to 5 most difficult venues to play in the NBA.
And force Jalen Brunson, who you could argue is playing as well as anybody in the league right now.
He was the clutch
to
player
make
of the
a
year.
couple of big mistakes in the late stages of that game when he's been Mr. Clutch is just unbelievable. And, I mean, the Pacers deserve a ton of credit. Everybody that plays for the Pacers, we've seen this since the Cavs series, whoever they put in there contributes. They don't have Dean Wades and Isaac Okoros that come out on the floor and do nothing. Everybody they put on the floor in legitimate minutes contributes.
Can I give you a crazy stat on Nesmith, who was kind of the unsung hero last night?
Yeah.
This from Caitlin Cooper, does a great job covering Indiana. I kind of discovered her when the series started, and she does a really, really, really good job. According to Caitlin Cooper, prior to last night, Aaron Nesmith was 1 of 4 on threes this postseason where he took 1 dribble. Last postseason, he was 1 of 10 on threes where he took 1 dribble. For the entire regular season, he shot 86% of his threes. His overall threes, 86%, came on catch and shoot, no dribbles.
Yeah.
Last night, he was 4 of 4 in the final 4 minutes of the game on off-the-dribble threes.
So even like something that he's not really good at and doesn't do a lot. And he just came through. Everybody's playing well for that team. It was. I mean, that was incredibly
I cannot believe they won that game last night. I cannot. I've never seen a game like that.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like it was so in the bag. And
it was like,
and then it wasn't.
Remember when we were kids? I don't know if you remember as much because you weren't as much of a gamer, but NBA Jam.
Oh yeah.
And they would have computer assistants on, so no matter how big the score got in the fourth quarter, one team would tighten the game up, and that's what it felt like last night. Like everything went the Pacers' way. The turnovers, the shots were all going down. And he's on fire. You know, all that stuff. Man, it was crazy.
And when you make a comeback like that, really everything has to go your way.
Yes.
You know, if one of the things
just
that's
one
what we
thing,
said about the
dude.
Cavs.
Yeah.
That's what we said about the Cavs.
Yeah,
too.
It's unreal.
I mean, think about this. If what's his face makes that free throw.
Yep.
One. He split the pair. Makes the one. Yes. And Anunoby missed the free throw.
Yep.
And that 1 point would have been the difference because his foot was on the line.
That's right.
They win the game.
Won the game. Yep. Yeah, that's true.
So we saw the Cavs unable to recover from the Game 2 loss.
Right.
Do you guys think the Knicks will be able to recover from a Game 1 collapse of similar proportions?
I do.
Yeah, they're a tough team, dude.
I think they'll win tomorrow, or whatever the second game is. Is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah, Friday.
Yeah.
I would take the Knicks to go home 1-1.
Yeah.
Or to go back to Indy,
yeah.
to go to Indy 1-1. But I think I picked the Pacers on the show to win the series.
Pick the Pacers?
Yeah, I'll stick with that, obviously.
The Pacers had been a 500 team on the road this year. They were 500. And they've gone and won in Milwaukee. They've won in Cleveland. They win in New York.
But it's because they were terrible early in the season, and
Yeah.
they've been incredible since the turn of the calendar.
Yeah.
So just some of those numbers
fair
are
enough.
a little,
That's
little
true.
off.
They're obviously peaking. I don't know that they're peaking to the Oklahoma City level where they just. Although I shouldn't say that because that last series won 7 games. They destroyed Minnesota, and they play that game 2 is tonight. And Oklahoma City's favored by 7.5. Anybody like Minnesota to win tonight?
No.
It's hard to pick them. It's
I
hard
like
to pick
the Thunder
hard
for
to
the
pick them in
series.
OKC.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Talk a little Browns here, guys. We're going to do that thanks to LinkedIn Talent Solutions. As a small business owner, work doesn't end when the clock hits 5. Your business is always on your mind, which means when it's time to hire, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do. That's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your jobs for free, share it with your networks, and get qualified candidates all in one place. Here's how it works. just post your job. LinkedIn's new feature can help you write job descriptions, then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. And here's a pro tip. Add the hashtag hiring frame to your profile picture to double your reach to qualified candidates. No wonder 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn helps them find high-quality hires. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That is linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. So, guys, ESPN put out an article yesterday projecting the top rookie NFL stat leaders in certain categories. Passing and rushing were two of the 10 that had Browns players listed. So, for the sake of today, I'm going to give you what ESPN projected to be Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, and Quinshon Judkins' stats for their rookie season. And you guys tell me if it's a fair projection and whether or not that would be considered a successful rookie year for each of the three. Sound good to you?
All right, let's go.
Let's start with Shedeur Sanders. According to ESPN projections, Shedeur will start 4 games this year for the Browns, throw for 925 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Bull, if
they don't
that
give
is
interceptions? How do you not give interceptions?
Because ESPN didn't give interceptions.
That's a bad
They
job
just
out of
gave
them.
passing yards and touchdowns.
Is this
as the
like a
projection.
computer thing, or is this just like somebody guessing?
This is Mike Clay's fantasy.
Mike Clay is like their
projections.
fantasy guy,
All right,
one of their
all right.
fantasy.
So
So
he's
it's a human element.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, it's an educated guess.
Sure, but it's not like one
I mean-
of those simulations where how can
No.
you simulate the guy who's never played in the league?
You don't know. Plus, he doesn't know how. You don't know how many games he's going to play. It's not like he's projected to be the
actually-
starter.
Mike Clay
Probably
wrote this
fair.
just to clarify. He
I
said,
mean-
in Cleveland, Gabriel and Sanders are competing with Flacco and Pickett for the Week 1 starting job. Both rookies figure to get some 2025 run because of the uncertainty surrounding Flacco and Pickett, but no one truly knows how many games they'll play this year.
I mean, I don't know what he's got. I mean, those are pretty decent numbers. I mean, it's only yards and touchdowns, so I don't know how much. It'd be a big difference if it was 4 touchdowns, 1 pick versus 4 touchdowns, 6 picks. But 1 touchdown a game, and what would that be? 230 yards.
Yeah.
231
Yeah.
yards,
231.
whatever,
Give or
per
take.
game. I mean, that'd be pretty
fine.
good.
Yeah,
He better start more than 4 games.
Yeah, well, maybe Dillon Gabriel's going to start.
He better start more than 4 games. I'm
I
curious.
mean,
to see-
everyone assumes Shedeur is going to be the starter over Gabriel after 3 practices.
I think it's a huge. It's a huge assumption to make.
I mean, I'm not making it.
Yeah. Does he have Gabriel? I know you didn't mention Gabriel. Does he have Gabriel's numbers in
Yeah,
there?
He does. You want to do Gabriel's now,
yeah,
and we
go
compare
ahead.
the two?
Yeah.
All right, Dillon Gabriel. In this projection from Mike Clay, he has Dillon Gabriel starting 5 games, throwing for 1,205 yards and 5 touchdowns.
So,
Basically the same, a little higher on the yardage per game.
but I'm looking more at the starts. So he's got Shedeur at 4 and Dillon at 5. So
Yeah.
you're giving 8 starts to Flacco/Pickett. That's ridiculous. Why would you do that?
The only way you would do that is if the Browns were having a surprising good season. They're not going to bail on the season if they're playing well.
If those 2 rookies combined make a total of 9 starts, that is a failure by management and coaching. You have got to start those guys more than 9 games. You have 1 year to make a decision on these guys. 5 starts and 4
Yeah.
starts is not enough to make a decision.
So if they're somehow 6-2, which obviously I don't believe they will be, you're going to bench. They're 6-2.
They're not benching Flacco.
They're not going to bench him if he's playing great or Pickett.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
What world are the Browns going to be 6-2?
You asked me for the scenario. I'm saying that's the one scenario where you're in a tough spot.
I don't know how. First of all, I don't think Flacco's on the team. I said that. I don't think Joe's on the team.
See, I don't think Pickett's going to be on the team.
Listen, it's May.
Yeah.
If Pickett looks awful,
Yeah.
he's not going to be on the team. I'm
One,
just saying
one of those 2 won't be on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't give them more than 1 or 2 starts. Whoever it is, I'd only give them 1 or 2 starts at the beginning of the season. Is it unfair to the rookies? Yeah, probably. Oh well, life's
Yeah.
unfair. You have 1 year because right now they're the way that they traded down. They're trying to take a quarterback next year. So you have 1 year to figure out if you've got something or not. How can you know if you have something on 4 starts and 5 starts?
You won't.
You won't.
No.
So now you're in the position.
I don't even know that you'll know for sure for
You probably
6, 7,
won't.
8 starts.
You may not, because
Yeah.
that's what I was talking about with G the other day. It's like the worst thing that could happen. Like one of these guys needs to be really, really good, or they both need to be really, really bad. Because the worst thing you could do is you get to the end of this year and you look at it and go,
with another year,
there might be something here.
Yeah.
We might have something here. And then you take a left tackle and your receiver, and then the quarterback flops.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst thing that could happen.
that is true.
So this is – I just think you need a way bigger sample size on these guys than 4 games and 5 games.
But if your attitude is, well, even if they're not ready, we got to play them, then why not start them week one of them?
Fine. I'm fine
Yeah.
with that. I'm
Yeah.
totally fine with that.
And maybe that'll be the case.
Yeah.
There's no M going into the season with Pickett and 2 rookies. There's no way.
I wouldn't.
So Flacco and 2 rookies?
That's what I would
And-
do.
That's my
Yeah.
room.
I
That's
mean,
my
maybe-
room.
Listen, I'm just saying on May 22nd. Let's
Yeah.
get into camp and see what these guys look like.
Right.
If Pickett looks like
Listen,
a total
there's
disaster.
a chance they're all 4 on the roster, 1 on the practice squad, 3 on the roster.
I don't know who's making it to the practice squad.
That wouldn't get picked up.
Who's going to put? I mean, if Shedeur gets cut, someone's going to put him on their active roster.
I would
Yes.
think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
At
Yeah.
that point,
I don't think Shedeur makes it to practice squad.
I would. Somebody, one of these bad
A
teams would.
lot of good players make it to the practice squad.
At that position?
I mean, yeah.
So, I think
A fifth-round pick that, if he doesn't play well enough to make the active roster here, who's putting him on their active roster?
the Saints, the Raiders. Like, I think there are other teams that would have drafted him in the late 5th or 6th or 7th.
Well,
round.
they're running out of chances. To Dustin's point, they were running out of
I
chances.
hear you.
And by the way,
yeah.
these players do have some sort of say. Like, I mean, if they say, hey, we'd like to have you in the practice squad,
Yeah.
they can pay him more money to stay in the practice squad here. It may behoove him to be in a team where he already knows the system. Like, who wants to leave a team and go to somewhere else, some other crappy team, try to learn
Right.
the system there just because you're going to be on the active roster and be the third quarterback? There's a lot of things in play here. I don't just assume
All right,
that,
maybe you're
that 4
right.
quarterbacks
It might
can't
be
be in
possible.
that room when the season gets underway.
You never know. It seems like an unlikely scenario to me, but you make a fair point. That I guess anything's possible. And by the way, one of them could get hurt, and then it all takes care of itself.
Yeah.
Or maybe a starter on another team gets hurt, and that team wants to trade for Flacco or Pickett. That could happen too.
Right.
Go ahead, Mike.
The other layer of that question, just to do this whole exercise, is if those are the realistic, if that is how it pans out, would that be a successful season for the rookies?
It's
I
hard
wanna
to
ask,
say.
I just
Mike,
want to ask
giving
if you
us
combine
passing
it.
yards and touchdowns.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you combine the two, if we leave this season with the 2 rookie quarterbacks on the Browns combining for 9 starts, 9 touchdowns, and 2,100 yards, there's a pretty strong indication that they'd be drafting a quarterback very high next year, right?
I guess. I can't decide based on – it's not enough information
Right.
to know whether they played well or not.
I mean, if those are the final numbers, then it looks like you still don't know who your quarterback
No,
is.
I think you don't know. Yeah, and if they have the bottom line is, if they have an opportunity to get a quarterback next year that feels that they believe is a franchise lock, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
The only way they wouldn't draft that guy is if one of these guys was outstanding. So to your point, yes, you don't want to be in a situation where maybe not. I think you got to draft that guy next year if you have the ability to, unless one of these guys makes it 100% obvious that he's the guy. And it's going to be hard to do that because we don't know how many starts they're going to get.
Right.
What the Browns do, and again, you have a situation where, we may think that they have good job security, but Kevin Stefanski may be saying, "Hey, we got to win games here. We can't go." Jimmy Haslam told me my job's safe, but what if they go 2-15? What if they go 3-14? Could he get fired?
And I've talked about the tanking thing before, but obviously, every coach wants to win every game. Every player wants to win.
Of course.
I've never once insinuated Kevin's going to try and throw a game.
Of course not.
He wants to win every game. He's calling plays to win games.
Yes.
He's not calling plays for a quarterback
Of course.
next year.
Yeah.
So let's just be totally clear
yeah.
on that. He's
Right.
trying to win.
But the organization's decision is about, what they may do at quarterback. How much is getting a quarterback next year factoring into that decision, especially in week 1?
It has to.
It has to, but does that make them, make a move that they probably shouldn't make for week 1? Or that, at the detriment, if you're the veterans on this team and you know that the rookie's not ready to play and they start one of the rookies week 1, you're going to be pissed.
That's what happened with Hoyer and Manziel. It's exactly what happened with Hoyer and Manziel. They knew Johnny wasn't ready.
I'm telling you right now, guys,
Yeah.
this team is not going to be thinking about anything other than trying to win as many games as they can.
Right, the players
And
the coaches.
And the coaches.
But but there is a detriment to that in terms of the organization. But guys don't care about that. Players don't care about that. They're not worried about that. The Patriots won that last game last year, cost them the first overall pick.
I mean, to the point Dustin's making.
Yeah.
I mean, a big reason why Ty Lue got fired, go back in the day, was because Ty's like, I'm playing my guys. I don't care about your rookies.
Yeah.
I'm trying to win games. I'm playing my guys.
Right.
Yeah,
And the organization was trying to develop young guys.
Yeah.
That was a big part of it.
Yeah, I think it's a little different, though, basketball to football. I mean, this team they won 3 games last year, man. Like, Jimmy Haslam wants to win games. Stefanski wants to win. They need to win games. I mean, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team this year. I think Tyvis was joking. He thinks they could go 8-9 or 9-8.
I don't think he was joking. I think he believes
Whatever.
they could, yeah.
Tyvis drinks the brown-orange Kool-Aid. I mean, I get it. I once did that, too. However, sorry, I don't know why he caught a stray there. Sorry, Tyvis.
I don't know who'd want to drink brown Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, they're going to try to do whatever they can to win, and they're going to try to I think they're going to try to create some of that Flacco magic early in the year.
But you say Andrew Berry wants to win, and I think in some vein they do, but he didn't do everything he could. If he was doing everything he could to win, he would have drafted Travis Hunter at 2.
Yes.
And they didn't do that.
Look at the offense that ended the season last year.
Yeah.
And their top 2 picks
I
were
don't
defense.
agree with you.
What, you don't think?
I mean, I don't know that Travis Hunter gets you that many more wins right now.
It's a playmaker on offense.
It is a playmaker,
stinks.
but correct. But they also got a haul for the pick.
But the key piece of that haul is next year. So it wasn't about this year and getting better this year.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just saying I don't know that Travis Hunter as a rookie is going to make you that much better like this season. I wanted Travis Hunter. I did.
Yeah.
I did. But I don't think that move signifies that they're not trying to win this year.
I don't
To me,
know.
it does.
I look at that offense,
Yeah.
and their top 2 picks were on the defensive side of the ball. Now, I mean, they got Judkins high in the second round.
Yeah.
And
very high.
they got Judkins, they got Fannin, they got
Yeah.
Sampson.
They addressed
they got
it.
3
They
playmakers I'm
addressed
pretty
it.
happy about.
They did.
Well,
I'm too. They addressed it.
Judkins is the other rookie that we have
Yeah.
ESPN stat projections for. Before I show you what Mike Clay projected for Quinshon Judkins, he had this little nugget in there about running backs taken in rounds 2 and 3 since the 2011 draft. Since 2011, only 13 of the 74 running backs selected in rounds 2 or 3 have reached 800 rushing yards in year 1. 14 of them reached 6 rushing touchdowns. So 13 of 74 reached 800 yards. 14 of them reached 6 or more rushing touchdowns. With that in mind, this is
It's a
how
lot lower than I would have guessed.
Same.
Yeah.
This is how Mike Clay projected out Quinshon Judkins' rookie season with the Browns. 922 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, and 1 receiving touchdowns, which would give him 7 total, which would tie for 4th most of all rookie offensive players, not just running backs, but running backs, receivers, and tight ends. That 922 yards above that 800-yard threshold we just mentioned, and the 6 rushing touchdowns would be right up there with the other 14 who reached 16 rushing touchdowns. If that's what Quinshon Judkins does this season, would that be a successful rookie season in your mind for the Browns' second-round pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said
I wanted 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
but
well, okay. 992.
after hearing that stat, I guess it would, that'd be pretty good.
Just out of curiosity.
Running backs just usually hit the ground running more than any other position.
What did Chubb have his rookie year? Because I remember he
wasn't.
I know.
Remember
he sat.
Carlos Hyde?
Yes, but then they traded Hyde,
traded
and
Hyde
Chubb went
mid-season.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's why.
Nick Chubb, his rookie season back in 2018, had 996 yards.
Okay, and that's playing.
That's with
half
barely
the year.
playing the first 4 games.
Yeah, was it
He
4?
had
something like that.
192 attempts.
It was after the
He had a-
Tampa game.
he
I
had a
think
break-
they traded him.
Yeah,
traded Hyde.
he had I remember Chubb had a breakout game in Oakland.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, he had
I remember that game.
105
Chubba, Wubba.
105 yards on
Jim
3
Donald had
carries that
great
game.
call.
Was that his first game with heavy carries?
Well, he only had 3 carries
Oh, he did.
He had 3 carries, 105 yards
and
against
2
the Raiders.
touchdowns.
When was Hyde? When did his carries really go up?
Week 7, he had 18 against Tampa, 18 against Pittsburgh, 22 against Kansas City, 20 against Atlanta,
so Tampa
28
was his
against
first game as
Cincinnati.
a
So
starter.
it was 6 games where he didn't really.
Correct.
And so I guess it depends on the touches. Like,
but Judkins doesn't have anybody in front of him now. I mean,
Right.
is Jerome Ford really going to?
so
stop
I
him?
mean, those numbers are fine. They're not blowing me away. Like, I want him to be a superstar.
But he's splitting carries with. He's got Ford and Sampson back there as well.
But I'm expecting him to be the main guy. I'm not expecting him to split carries.
But you just heard Chubb his rookie year at 968
well,
yards.
but that's only because he barely played the first 6 weeks. I mean, how many carries did Chubb have the first 6 weeks, Mike?
3 + 2, 5, 7, 10, 16 carries in the first 6 weeks.
That's not even like one game in the first 6 weeks.
16.
He barely
40. How many? 16.
In his first 6 games,
I was adding the numbers as he was saying them.
Yeah,
he was
he-
totally
he had
upset.
16 total carries for 173 yards and those 2 touchdowns.
That's incredible.
173 yards.
That's incredible.
So
Averaging 10 yards. a
had
carry.
Nick Chubb played a full complement, of,
he had
you
1,400 yards as a rookie.
easy.
Oh, yeah, easy.
So, like, those numbers are fine for Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah.
But, like, to me, if you're a special back and you get the opportunity to be a bell cow rookie year, you got to make that impact year one. Like, if he averages 16, 17 carries a game, I want him to have 1,200 yards. And that's not too much to ask for a rookie in a position where the good rookies immediately impact.
If he's healthy, I think 1,100 yards is definitely in play.
Yeah. Again, that's not bad, those numbers.
They're going back to emphasizing the run. They're going back to the
Right.
wide zone.
So I think he's going to get a lot of carries.
I do too. I mean, Chubb had Hyde in front of him for the first however many weeks. What would we say? 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily.
They had somebody else there, too. They were 3 backs.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Was Isaiah Crowell still there?
Who
was,
I don't remember.
Mike, take a look at the Browns' rushing carries
Crowell was here.
In 18?
in 18, Nick's rookie year.
Did they
Because it
trade
wasn't
him
just
too?
Hyde. They had another back that got carries.
No, I'm sorry. Crowell was not here.
He was gone already?
in 18.
It was Carlos Hyde, Duke Johnson.
Duke Johnson.
Crowell
That's
was here
it.
in 17.
But Duke Johnson only had 40 carries all season, so it's not.
How
like
many did he have in the first 6 weeks? He would get a lot of passes.
First 6 weeks of the 2018 season?
Yeah.
We said 4, 2, 10, 14 carries in the first 6
So he
weeks.
got about the same amount of carries as Nick. So if Carlos Hyde had not been there, Duke Johnson's carries wouldn't have gone up much. It would have been all going to Nick Chubb. So, yeah, so they still had Duke Johnson in the mix, and Duke Johnson would be on the field a lot because he'd catch a lot of passes. That guy just fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Not uncommon in the NFL, but for a minute,
He
was
had
good.
that hold-in thing, right? Remember? He was,
Yeah,
like, trying
Baker
went
that
at him.
was a
Baker went
bad
at
job
him.
by
Yeah.
Baker. Yeah,
It was. The whole thing was just kind of ugly.
Yeah.
For comparison's sake, these are the other rookie running backs and their projected stats by Mike Clay. He only gave the top 5, but he had Ashton Genty with 1,120, 7 touchdowns.
What team is Jenny on? I forgot.
The Raiders. He was the 6th overall pick.
Oh, I mean, they don't have any other running backs, do they?
No, he's going to be the bell cow.
Yeah, he's being conservative with the. I mean, if Ashton Jenny only has 1,100 yards, I'm disappointed if I'm a Raider.
Omarion Hampton with the Chargers, 961 yards.
Yeah, he's conservative.
9
with all these
touchdowns.
numbers. Yeah.
Caleb Johnson, the 3rd-round pick of the Steelers, 947 yards.
Now
and
that's
7
high
touchdowns.
because the Steelers have Jalen Warren.
And then Judkins was 4th, and then R.J. Harvey of Denver with 841 yards and 5 touchdowns. Those were his top 5.
That guy might have more
projected
yardage
rookie
because they
leaders.
don't really have anybody then.
Harvey?
Yeah, like just opportunity. I don't know if he's as good as these other guys.
I would
but
think Judkins would be second and behind Genty.
Who was that other guy
Of
that
those
Denver
rookies.
had?
I would think so too.
Javante.
Yeah, he's gone. Javante Williams is
gone?
gone, right?
They have the Audric Estime guy and McLaughlin. They're going to do running back by
Where
committee.
did Javante Williams go? He's not on Denver, right? I think he left and went somewhere else. I can't remember.
I have no idea.
He looked great as a rookie.
He's a
and then he
Cowboy.
got- What's that?
Cowboys.
Right. He looked great as a rookie, and then he got hurt, and he's never been the same.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I'm expecting Judkins to have – I mean, those numbers, again, they'd be fine.
Yeah.
But I'm expecting him to do more than that.
I think he's going to have to split carries all year with Hyde and Sampson.
You just said Hyde.
Ford and Sampson.
Where is Carlos Hyde these days? Have we heard from him? I feel like you never
State
hear
Farm.
about him.
He's in State Farm.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
He's at State Farm. I bought it. It sounded reasonable that he's working for State Farm.
I'm sure he's out of the league. I mean,
No, I know he's out of the league,
not
but I was,
playing.
wondering what he was up to these days. Go ahead, Mike.
Let's move on to our next topic here. And, Bull,
Yeah.
tell us about Menu RX before we dive into it.
Yeah, folks, Menu RX, whether you're trying to get in better shape, trying to lose weight, just do a better job in terms of nutrition, You know, if you scroll through Instagram or Twitter, you'll see all these crackpots telling you this diet works. Maybe that diet worked for that person. It's possible. But everybody's got a different chemistry. Everybody's got a different metabolism. MenuRx uses cutting-edge metabolic testing to analyze your body's internal process, creating a diet plan or just an eating plan. It doesn't even matter if you're overweight. You want to just be in better shape, specifically for you. So if you've ever felt stuck trying to figure out what lifestyle changes will actually work for you in the long term, with MenuRx, it's like having a full team of scientists, dietitians, and doctors crafting a plan just for you. Not based on trends, but on your molecular data. Science to get you healthier. It's that simple. Visit menu-rx.com today to schedule your consultation and experience what metabolic testing can do for your performance, body composition, and long-term health. And right now, when you sign up for a MenuRx plan, you'll get a year-long membership to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, absolutely free, $60 value. Become a member, see our overtime for free if you sign up right now for MenuRx. So go to menu-rx.com. Stop guessing, start unlocking your full potential.
All right, guys, this is a broad question.
Okay.
It initiates and originates from a Cavaliers discussion we've had, but this can be applied to football, baseball, golf, hockey, tennis. You pick a sport, it can be applied to that sport. The question is simple. Can you teach toughness? Can you coach toughness? Or is that just something a player inherently is born with or is born without? Dustin, what do you think?
It's a great question. I think it's a little bit of both. Because I do think that your upbringing kind of creates your toughness. You know, there are players sometimes that, you know, as you grow up, you have it maybe a little bit easier than other people, but just because you're more talented, you're more gifted, or what have you. Some people have to work harder for what they achieve in life, and so it's kind of a combination. I don't believe that you can, as an older person, older in life, professional, whatever. Like, I don't think if you're 25, you're gonna develop mental toughness. Maybe you can a little bit. You know, like if you enter the military when you're 18 and you're going to go through it and you're going to, you know, whatever, you want to be a Navy SEAL, okay, you're going to learn to be tough. But like, if you're in the NFL and you just don't have it, I don't think you can get it.
Jason, what say you?
I was talking to a couple people about this, and talked to one NFL guy, an NBA guy, and the first thing was, does the tiger change the stripes? That's an old cliche that a lot of sports executives use, and whoever a guy is, that's who he's going to be. You heard Richard Jefferson in that road tripping podcast. I don't know if you guys have talked about that on the show or not.
They talked about it on Monday, I think, right?
I thought RJ had the great line, if you don't bite as a puppy, you're not going to bite as a dog. But also, I remember talking to people who were around for LeBron's first stint in Cleveland, where they'd be in huddles, and LeBron's like, I can't do that. Like on late game situations, LeBron's like, I can't do that. And look at him now.
Yeah.
So I do think that there's an evolution there. I talked. One of the NBA guys I talked to said, if you surround a guy with toughness around him, you can bring it out of him if it's in there. You can get it out of him. But you got to have 2-3 other guys around him. You got to have a Draymond around him, or, you know, something like that, to sort of get it out of him, or it's not going to come natural. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
It's not a black and white answer. It's a very
it's complicated.
It's very complicated.
Yeah. When you say, can you, like, some people's like, well, can you coach a guy? No, I don't think you can coach toughness out of a guy. I think you've either got it or you don't. Now, I think some people, it might be there, and you're right, with the right people around them or the right circumstance. Maybe something. I think it's something that, especially for like kids, like maybe when you're 10, you're kind of timid, and then as you get up and you grow up and have experiences or meet different people, you become tougher, and that can happen. I think, like, if you look at a guy like Jared Allen, who's 26, 27 years old, whatever he is. I mean, at this point, it's hard.
I think Jared is what he is.
He is what he is, right? Like, maybe Evan Mobley has that in there, and it's coming out slowly, and maybe it can be pulled out by the right. But nobody can. Ultimately, you as the individual have to bring it out of you. Ultimately, the guys around you can help, can maybe give you get you the tools to get that out of you. But ultimately, you got to want it. You got to want to be tougher. You got to want to it has to come internally, the growth.
But ultimately, I think you have to be who you are, because if you try and fake it, people they're going to see right
That's
through it.
true.
Guys, and I mean, Jarrett's an easy target. It's easy to pick on him.
Yeah.
I hate saying some of this stuff because I really do like him. Like, he's a really good dude.
Yeah.
But he can't just suddenly show up with a neck tattoo and all right.
Yeah, but that doesn't make you tough. I mean, I'm just talking about like when you got the ball in your hands and when you're going after rebounds and when you're diving for when you your play, how aggressive you are, your nature. A lot of that, I think, is sort of your environment you grow up in and how you're coached as a young player throughout high school and college and so on and so forth. I think that sort of develops who you are. It's a really, really tough thing to identify. I always make the joke that you can't coach awareness. That's something I think you're just born with.
That's true.
You're just born with it. Some people just are so aloof and they just don't know.
Right.
Situational awareness, whatever it may be.
Yep.
And I think to some degree, toughness can kind of be like that. But like if you're just because you're where you're born, you're either aware or you're not. That's a mental thing.
It certainly is, and so
I love this conversation.
And some of it is like playing through injury. There's some guys that have the ability to do that, and some guys don't. And I just don't think. I think for most people that doesn't change. Maybe in small increments it does, but I think if you're a 0 on that, you're never going to be a 10. Maybe you can become a 3, maybe a 4.
To go back to LeBron.
Donovan Mitchell is tough as nails.
Yes.
Jared Allen will never be as tough as Donovan Mitchell.
Never.
Unfortunately.
Never. Yeah.
I remember Griff telling me the Cavs-Bulls playoff series, LeBron's first year back.
Yeah.
LeBron turned his ankle so badly, he said the bone hit the floor. Your ankle bone was on the court.
Right.
All the way, and all he did was bend over, retied his shoe, and kept going.
Right.
That's
it.
That's superhuman to be able to do that.
Right, and he grew into that to some degree.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because I just told you, his first time here, he was not that guy.
Right, but he wasn't a 0.
No, he wasn't a 0.
You can't go from a 0 to a 10.
Right.
I just don't think. But and Jared Allen, as nice a guy as he is, he seems like a 0 in that vein. I don't know. And the Cavs team is in general, outside of Donovan, doesn't seem like they have that in them.
They're going to hear. They heard a little bit last year.
Yeah.
They're really going to hear for the next 4 months.
Oh, my gosh.
How much they suck.
Yeah.
How soft they are.
Yep.
Can't believe you couldn't play through. Can't believe you missed 2 weeks with a toe.
Oh, yeah.
If anything will piss them off and infuriate them to come back better, it should be that. And I think that's kind of what Donovan was alluding to at his end of season, or at the post game that night, where he's like, you guys are going to write so much bleep, and because they know what they're going to hear. And I mean, all the trade rumors, all the 98% of them are just senile and just don't make any sense at all. But they're going to see that. They're the generation, they're always on social media. They're going to see all of it. I don't care what they say. They see it all, they read it all.
And the thing is, even if the Cavs do decide to run it back as is, those guys can't prove a thing till next playoffs.
Yep.
Nothing. And really not till the second round of next year's playoffs.
They could fight someone every game.
It doesn't matter.
Literally start a fist fight every game, and none of it will matter till the playoffs roll around.
82 games. They could fight in the regular season.
We're back to LeBron years.
And none of it matters.
We're back to where the regular season, it's like, okay, talk to me in April.
But the difference is that was no one believes them now. You believed then. You just weren't interested in the regular season.
Right, because you knew LeBron didn't care about the regular season.
Now you don't believe in them.
Right.
Which is why you don't
Big
care.
difference, right.
It is a big difference.
And that was hanging in the background for us the whole season. But we enjoyed the season. I know I did for most of the season until the last month. We enjoyed it. But every time the Cavs, the 1 or 2 times this past year when they had those, they lost 3 of 7, that nervousness started to creep back. And now it's, it really doesn't matter. There's no way to get excited about next year. People will watch, of course, and you'll enjoy the individual games and individual
You'll get sucked.
performances.
If they win 60-plus again,
it just doesn't matter.
people are going to get sucked in again, though.
But I don't know how any reasonable person would have any confidence in them going into the playoffs.
You're going to get sucked in again, and you're going to tell yourself they were hurt
I
last
won't,
year.
but a lot of people will. You're right.
We'll see, because you're also the one that said you don't care about regular season basketball.
And I got into it.
And you got sucked back in. If they rip off 12, 13 wins in a row again next year, I'm telling you, people are going to get sucked back in.
No, I know. You're right. You're right. Go ahead, Mike.
So with this topic,
Yeah.
I asked Jay to help me out. We texted a couple different coaches from various sports, all completely anonymous answers, but we got some answers to the very question we're asking here. Can you teach toughness, or is it something a player has or hasn't? So I picked a couple of the answers that I thought were the best and most well put, and I'm curious what you guys think. I'm going to read these and then we can discuss, but I think a lot of them are in line with what you guys have said. This is from the first coach, who said, I do not believe you can teach that or isn't something you can add. Either a player has it or they don't, in my opinion.
Do we even know can we say what sport this coach coaches?
This was a baseball guy. Steve, next one. Yes and no. Ultimately, soft serve will melt a lot quicker than the real stuff. I was a basketball guy.
All right.
Next up. This one's long. Yes, you can coach toughness, but it's the hardest thing to do. You must have a culture that exudes confidence and is expected by philosophy and style of play. It also has to be a daily thing that you hold guys accountable to. We call it tricking guys into thinking they're tough. I've done it a lot in my career, but our culture is that, and my personality doesn't let guys be any other way. Now, I do think most guys are who they are, and at the end of the day, unfortunately, when the rubber hits the road, they will be who they are. Also think you have to surround the soft ones with dogs. 2 more real quick. Next up, I think it's mostly inherited. Can't really teach or coach toughness into a dude that isn't tough, but sometimes you get a tough dude that doesn't realize it yet, and a coach can bring it out of him.
Yeah, I think we were saying that.
And last but not least, really good question. I've thought about this a lot. I think there are different levels of it, so you can teach to enhance it. But if you don't got it, you don't got it. How far you can push someone to be tough is very different for every person.
Yeah.
So that's a spectrum. Baseball
I think
coach,
a lot of that's
football
in
coach,
line with
basketball
what we were
coach.
saying.
Pretty in line with how we started the conversation.
I think it's more on the rest of the locker room than it is the coaches. I mean, tell me if I'm
your
wrong.
peers, right?
I think it's more on, it's the other dudes that are holding you to that standard.
It's sort of
and
both.
expecting
It's sort
that
of
out you.
both. I mean, I think in the pros, it's a little bit more your peers.
Yeah. At the younger levels,
At
it's
the younger
coach.
levels, it's always the
It's
coach.
the coach,
It's always
yeah.
the coach. But I think definitely when you get to the collegiate level, professional level, you're looking around their locker room. You're like, okay, what sort of team we got here?
It's not just toughness, too. It's like instincts for the game, right? Like, that's a part of it, too, part of the whole process. Can you teach? You can't really teach that. I see some kids in Little League that, they're, most kids you have to say, okay, if it's a fly ball, you're like, okay, tag up. They're like, confused.
Yeah.
There's some kids that know to tag up. There's some kids that know,
That's your awareness level.
Just having that awareness. Oh, okay, the first baseman's got the ball. He's not paying attention. I'm going to try to score. Like this, at the younger levels, you either have those things. That's not toughness, but that's just another part of can it be taught? I could practice the cutoff man drill as much as I want. There's some kids that are just not going to get it during the game.
Right.
No matter how much you practice.
There's a reason why, and I talk to college coaches all the time, they love to recruit kids who their dad's a coach. Like when you grow up in a house with your dad's a coach, there's a good chance that the kid's going to have a good work ethic. He's probably going to be pretty tough. Regardless of his athletic ability, he's going to probably be at least an overachiever. There's a lot of positives you get from kids who grow up in a household where the dad was a coach.
Yeah.
For what's worth.
All right, Mike.
All right, let's move on and talk a little baseball here, guys. Before we do that, if you haven't already followed the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on all of our social media channels, what are you waiting for? Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. The handles are on your screen right there. We'll have some behind-the-scenes content coming soon to you on all 3 of those platforms, plus some of the best moments from the show. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on all of our social media channels as well. Let's talk guards for a sec, guys. They split a doubleheader yesterday with the Twins. It was the continuation of a suspended game and then, obviously, another game. Do you want to start with Gavin Williams and his strong showing, or the bullpen not holding up its end of the deal in the first game? Bull?
Well, that was, what sucks is that first game, they looked dead going to the ninth inning. They're down 5-2, and they come back, get a 2-out double. What was it, Bo Naylor that got the 2-out double to tie it?
Yeah.
And the same day that I was like, all right, time to move on from Carlos Santana, he hits a home run in both games. Interesting. I inspired him. I'm very good at inspiring these players when they're playing like crap. And then for Cade Smith to blow it in the bottom of the ninth was a huge disappointment because that would have been an awesome win to get it. Cade Smith, oddly, has had 2 bad outings here in the last week or so. And then the second game, they come back, they take care of business, and Gavin Williams pitched a great game. One other thing from the bullpen that I got a concern about right now, and I texted Zach asking his opinion, is that Emmanuel Clase's velocity was down. He got the job done. He got the save in the second game. Or was it not a save situation? I can't remember. But he finished the game.
They were up 4, so not a save situation.
Yeah, it wasn't a save situation. But his velocity was down. And so I was a little concerned. Zach said to me, hey, he's like, it was really cold there, so maybe that factored in. But he was dealing with a shoulder issue, a month ago. He had soreness in his shoulder. So the fact that his velocity was down, Jason, is concerning. Now, since that bad Pirate explosion, I don't think he's given up a run. He's been great, but that was a little concerning.
I hear Zach on the weather and cold and weather.
Yeah.
Wait and see what his velo is in his next outing.
Right.
And then I think you can have that conversation. If it's down again,
Yeah. And the weather's supposed to be cold again in Detroit this week.
This weather sucks.
I mean, what is this? It's late
awful.
May already. Let's
It
go.
is
Enough.
so bad.
It feels like late November, early December.
I know.
It's 50.
terrible.
We better have every day in June sunny.
Oh, God. Like all weekend's supposed to be like this.
Yeah.
Look at
Holiday
this.
weekend.
Yeah, look at that.
It's not supposed to be late May. Look like a bomb just went off.
It's
there. I shouldn't
Memorial
say that,
Day.
so-
It's not sweatshirt
like
weather.
Moscow.
This is
Memorial Day's
absurd.
going to be
Yeah.
60. It
like
doesn't look. It
Moscow.
looks like Moscow.
Yeah, it's depressing.
Jeez.
Anyway.
So, but listen, Gavin Williams, that was the Twins had won 14 after pulling out the first game. The Twins had won 14-15. Their offense has been great,
Yeah.
and Gavin Williams completely shut them down. I thought that was a very impressive performance by him last night. Being able to go through 6, we've talked about that, Jason. It's so funny how 6 innings feels like
I know. It feels like a complete game these
right?
days.
When we were kids, that would be like
That's
you
a
only
bad
went 6?
start.
Yeah,
That's a bad start.
But nowadays, 6 innings is a good start. I mean, he pitched great. 2 walks, 2 hits, only 1 run, 6 Ks. Didn't have the crazy strikeout numbers, but against the Twins lineup that's been great of late, that was impressive.
We've become too obsessed with strikeouts.
Yeah.
I think people are just too hung up on strikeouts.
Well, I actually liked that his strikeout total was down because it means you're pitching more.
Yes.
Pitch the contact. Let's go.
Pitchers are getting too hung up on trying to strike
Yes.
guys out, and it's running up pitch counts, and it's
Yep.
part of the reason they don't make it as far into games. And sure enough, he had a couple innings early on with really high pitch numbers, and I
Yeah.
kind of thought, well,
Yeah.
here we go again. And then he fought through. I think
Yeah.
he had like a 9-pitch inning or a 10-pitch inning, and just one. If you could just get 1 or 2 of those innings where you get up and you get down, you get the bats back up, and it really can lengthen your outing. So I mean, that has to be his best outing of the year, right? Under the
He's
circumstances.
had a couple of those, but that's
But
as good
against
as
that
any.
team,
Yeah.
is the way that lineup's hitting.
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
true. Yes, very impressive.
So pitching ninja, real quick, Dustin.
Well, he pitched great against the Yankees too.
He did.
Yeah,
Pitching
that
ninja, who does a great job tracking pitches
Yeah.
and all that on Twitter. He tweeted this out, but he said Gavin Williams debuted a new sinker last night. I'm not
I
sure if you
missed
guys
that.
noticed this.
Did you know
On
that?
top of a
No, I didn't see
career
that.
high cutter usage rate. So he went away from the fastball more to the cutter. He threw 5 sinkers yesterday. All to righties. He averaged 94.4 miles per hour with 11-inch vertical break and a 16-inch arm side movement.
Did any of those get hit?
No, they're 3 balls, 2 strikes, but he got
Interesting.
check swings
Well,
on them.
Another pitch in the mix.
I was just say I didn't, full disclosure, did not see that game. So
Yeah,
I was curious.
I was
when
in
you
and
watched
out
it,
of the
did you,
game,
did you
but-
notice it?
I didn't.
No, I didn't notice.
I didn't notice it.
I wasn't watching every pitch.
Yeah, neither was
Again,
I.
I had 100 things going on yesterday.
Yeah.
But I had my eye on it, and
Right.
because I saw his pitch count was real
Yeah.
high early, and I thought, well, here we go again.
Yeah.
And then he was able to bow his neck and get
Right.
through that.
Right.
But that, I mean, what pitch was it? It's a sinker?
Yeah.
I wonder who taught it to him. I'll have to poke around on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 sinkers, all to right. I'll send you the tweet.
I mean, I'm
Jason,
guessing
if
he's
you
been
wanna
working
dive
on
into
it for a while.
Oh, for sure.
And he finally felt
Comfortable
like,
enough.
okay, I'll give it a shot a couple times against the team that knows me pretty well. It's
Yeah.
a division team.
Yeah.
And he broke it out a few times. And it'd be curious to see if he, do we get to the point where he's throwing it 10, 15 times a game?
Yeah.
Keeping
Just
people
enough-
off balance. That's
just-
good. It's always
yes.
good,
Yes, it's just to keep a guy off balance
Yeah.
type thing.
So
they
where
can't
would
sit
this
on
come
it.
from? 'Cause
Right,
obviously there's no scouting report on him throwing that.
right. That's pretty good movement on that
Yeah.
for what you read.
Yeah, that's really cool. So
That's
I
something
just
to pay
sent you the
attention
tweet
to
if you
going
guys
that was a bummer they lost that first game after they made that comeback.
Yeah.
Comeback,
Yeah. To end up losing that game. Kate Smith's actually looked human the last week or so.
Well, they got Detroit now.
Yeah.
And this say
4 game.
Yeah.
Think about this. You got 4 in Detroit. Then you got 3 at home against the Dodgers. Then the Angels stink. And then you got to go to New York for 3. I mean, you just played Minnesota, who'd been red hot.
You could be 12 games out by the
I mean,
middle
you
of June.
gotta again. See, they're not going to be out of it in the first week of June, but
They're 6 out now.
but in the
4 in
wild
Detroit.
card, they're only like
No. I'm talking division.
Oh, could they be out of the division by?
They could be 10
in 2 weeks.
Maybe not 12. They could be 10 out.
Yeah, they
Easy.
could. I would not completely write them out of the division, but they could be in big trouble.
I mean, I'm not going to start counting games in May, but it'd be good to get out of Detroit.
Yeah. I
with
mean,
at
this
least a
is
sweep.
a tough challenge. The Tigers have the best record in baseball, not just the American League. In all, and the National League has most of the powerhouses, but the Tigers are playing their asses off.
This division is no joke. And I know people laughed at it last year and kind of, even with the success that they had, even
Yeah.
with the playoff teams that they produced, people still kind of looked at it like, it's the
No,
AL
it's
Central.
good division.
It's a really good division.
Yeah. And think about this right now. The Tigers got 2 starters on the injured list. The Royals have their 2 best starters. Reagans and Lugo are both on the injured list right
I
now.
think Bubich is there.
Well, he's been great.
Yeah.
He's been great. Obviously the Twins are playing much better. They've won 14 of 16. So they've been more competitive. Some of their good hitters have actually been able to stay relatively healthy this year. This division is no joke. Obviously the White Sox are still terrible, but and are the Rockies, by the way, this continuing saga of the Rockies I'm fascinated by. You know what their
8
record is now?
8
Rockies?
41.
Why are you stealing my thunder?
I thought you were asking us.
Oh, okay.
You can't say, do you know what their record is, and then
That's
get
true.
mad when someone answers.
I was just see if these guys
I
knew
didn't
it.
know
but
it was
you
rhetorical.
tell them again, Mike, what their record is.
8 wins,
Yeah.
41 losses.
I mean, think about that for a
That's
second.
incredible.
They are on a. So last year, the White Sox broke the record, the modern Major League record for the worst record ever. They won 40 games, 40 and 122. The Rockies are on pace, I think, to win about 25 games, maybe 27. This is insane. You look at their roster. People were talking about the trade deadline. Who are they trading?
No.
They have nobody. They literally have nobody. They're only good hitters. They have 2 good offensive players, Brenton Doyle and Hunter Goodman, who are both essentially rookies. I mean, Doyle was a rookie last year, so they're not going to trade either of those guys.
Yeah.
They don't have a single good. They have 1 or 2 okay arms in the pen.
Who's this
but-
Jordan Beck guy?
Yeah, he's been pretty good. He's a rookie also. He's a rookie. That's it. They have I'll say 3 good young hitters. The rest of their lineup's trash. Their starting rotation is complete garbage. They've had the same guys in the rotation every year. They stink every year. Their bullpen's got 1 or 2 decent arms, but they're all rookies. They have literally nothing to trade to get better. I mean, I guess they could trade Brenton Doyle or Jordan Beck or Hunter Goodman, but even those guys,
not
they're
gonna
nice
bring back-
players, but they're not bringing back a huge haul.
No, they don't have very good numbers.
They
They're
have
not
nothing.
playing
The
well.
White Sox have only Luis Robert. He's having a terrible year. I like the awareness from him. Did you hear what he said the other day?
No.
They were asking him, like, you expecting to get traded? He's like, I've been so bad. I don't know why anybody would want me. But I think it's a Nicholas Castellanos situation.
Absolutely.
I think he goes somewhere else and kicks ass.
Yep.
But his value's down because he's been terrible.
Yeah.
They have nothing. What else do they have to trade?
The White Sox?
Yeah. Nothing.
I mean, Shane Smith, but you're really going to trade him?
He's a Rule 5 pick. I don't
know,
even think you
that's why
can trade him.
Oh, yeah, you could.
No.
Yeah, you could.
I don't think you could trade a Rule 5
They
pick.
would have no reason to.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't anyway. But,
Yeah.
like, we could trade Davis Martin. I mean, it was another one of their stars. They have nothing. So between those 2 teams, they have 1 player to trade. The Marlins have, like, these bad teams have, they have Sandy Alcantara, He hasn't been great, but, obviously they'll get a good return for him.
Did you see there was talk that the Pirates may move Skeens or teams are going to call and ask?
Heyman said that's not true.
Pirates came out and said, we are not trading.
Well, they said they want to build around him. Well,
then build.
Then build?
Yeah.
Do something around him.
Yeah. They should trade him, frankly. They should.
No, they should.
Yes, they should.
No, they should spend money and get better. That's
Well,
what
they're
they
not
should
going to do that.
Well, if you're going to trade Paul Skeens now, you might as well fold up the franchise. What are you going to get? You get a bunch of prospects that if they're any good, then you're going to trade them?
Trade them, too.
I mean, it's so stupid.
I know.
You're not trying to win.
I mean,
No.
if that dude stays healthy, I mean, he's going to be like a Hall of Fame pitcher.
I mean,
That's a big if
sure.
with pitching
That's a
today.
big
I
if.
understand.
Yeah, but
I mean,
yes, obviously he's
is
got
he
Hall of Fame
Do you
talent.
guys think he's the best in the game right now?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You think he's better than Tarek Skubal?
He said it very
No.
sternly. No.
I mean, Scooble's excellent.
He's not better than Skubal. He hasn't done enough. He hasn't been lights out this year either. He's been good, but he's not been lights out.
I don't know. Is Scooble the best pitcher in the American League this year?
It's probably been Max Fried.
Fried's been. I mean, Hunter Brown got hit yesterday, but
Yeah.
The guards are scheduled to face Skubal on Sunday
Thursday.
for
He's
what it's
pitching the
worth.
last game of the series.
How do you think the pitching real quick? The pitching
Yamamoto's
matchups.
been fantastic with the Dodgers. Kodai Senga's got like a 150 year. But I don't.
Crochet's been great in
If I'm
Boston.
starting a team right now and you ask me to get one pitcher, I'll take Skeens because he's the youngest. But Skubal's a better pitcher right now than Skeens is.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But there's probably 4 or 5 guys in the conversation actually.
Yeah, Hunter Green
Hunter Green.
is a great young pitcher. He's coming off the DL today. Go ahead, Mike. What were you going to say?
With the Guardians-Tigers series coming up, huge 4-game set.
Yeah.
Tonight's pitching matchup, Bybee versus Jack Flaherty.
Yeah, Flaherty hasn't been great either.
No. Then you got Sassoni versus Job, Ortiz versus
Ciccone.
Mize. That's what I said.
Oh, I think
Ciccone.
it's Sassoni.
No, Ciccone.
Okay, good
Versus
job.
Job, Ortiz versus Mize, and then Logan Allen versus Tariq Skubal.
Oh, is
which
Mize
is
coming off the DL?
Who?
Mize is on the DL. He must be coming off.
Who is?
Mize.
Casey Mize, yeah.
He's scheduled to pitch on Saturday.
Yeah, Mize is, and they just put somebody else on the injured list. Another
Detroit
one.
did?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Pitcher?
Yeah. I can't think of who it is, though. But,
So I'm sorry.
Let me go through it one more time.
yeah.
Tonight, Thursday, Bybee versus Jack Flaherty.
That's pretty even.
It's pretty even.
Friday, Ciccone versus Job.
Job's not been dominant this year.
No, but he's been better. I mean, Ciccone
One
Ciccone
start.
pitched well in his first
Yeah,
start.
one start, but
You'd
he's really
lead
good.
towards Job. He has more experience
But
at this
that's
point.
not overwhelming.
No.
in favor.
Ortiz versus Mize.
I give
Edge Tigers.
Edge Tigers.
Yeah.
But Ortiz looked really
But
good in his
Ortiz
last
has
start.
pitched pretty well.
Yeah.
And then Allen versus
That's a
Skubal,
massive
which
edge
is
for the Tigers.
Allen
Yeah.
versus Skubal?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, they better take 2 of the first 3 if they want to.
Well, they go from Allen versus Skubal to then Gavin Williams versus Yamamoto for the Dodgers in
They got to
back-to-back
face
games.
Skubal and Yamamoto back to back.
Just don't get no
God.
hitting back
Who
to
else
back
is pitching in that
games.
Dodger series?
Yamamoto, May, and Kershaw are the 3 scheduled starters.
Wow. So you're going to face 2 Cy Young winners. I know Kershaw's Cy Youngs have been a while, but and then Yamamoto, who could win a Cy Young this year. Dustin May, who's a real. Listen, you're not facing any scrub pitchers for the next week.
No.
How's Sasaki doing for the Dodgers?
He's hurt. He's on the injured list. He was doing
Yeah, he's okay.
Nah.
I mean, he's a rookie.
Yeah.
And he's a legit rookie, unlike a lot of the players that come from Japan.
How old is he? Like 23?
Something like that. I don't know exactly, but yeah. But, yeah, I mean, listen, I wonder if they're going to call up Kafis here soon. Lane Thomas, I would assume, comes off the IL maybe today. He hit a home run in his rehab game yesterday. He's played a lot of rehab games. Kafis hit another home run yesterday. He's been absolutely killing it. I'd put Kafis I'd let Kafis play right field right now.
I saw Nolan's hitting like 370 in his last however many. He's quietly starting to put it together. But I hear you.
I got to give another guy a shot right now. I wanted to move on from Santana, but all of a sudden he started to hit. So
I don't.
Crap on Nolan Jones, and maybe he'll start hitting too.
Nah, I really like Nolan Jones.
Bring up Nolan's game log over the last like 5 or 6 games. How many hits does he have?
Over the last how many games?
Whatever. 5, 6, 7, 8 games.
All right, give me 1 sec.
How many hits does he
Nolan
have?
Jones.
Because I mean, you can only look at the StatCast page so many times before you need actual
real numbers.
production.
In the last 7 days,
Yeah.
15 at bats, 5 hits.
333. How many strikeouts?
3 strikeouts. He has an OPS of 646.
All right.
3 strikeouts.
He has a lower on-base percentage than he has a batting average. I'm not sure how that works.
Means he never walks.
3 strikeouts?
He must have got thrown out. Yeah, he has not walked in the last week.
He has. You could have a lower on base percentage. A lower on base percentage. So he might have hit a sacrifice fly counts against your on base percentage, but not against your batting average. Okay. So he probably has a sacrifice fly.
He has 2 RBIs, 5 of 15, 1 run, 3 strikeouts in his last 7 days.
All right.
His last 15 days, he's hitting 259 with a 535 OPS.
That's not very good.
No. All right.
All right, let's move on, guys.
Yeah.
We're going to try a new little segment here coming up after a quick word from FanDuel. The NBA playoffs, well, they're in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So we're going to try out a new little segment. It's called Tell Me How. And basically, it's pretty simple. I give you an end goal, a prompt, and you guys have to tell me how we got to that conclusion. So, Dustin, we're going to start with you first.
Okay.
Tell me how Shedeur Sanders ends up winning the Offensive Rookie of the Year award for the Browns. Tell me how.
Well, it's going to be very, very, very simple. Shedeur Sanders is going to continue doing what he did in rookie minicamp, which is impress everybody. It's going to be the story amongst all the NFL headlines going into the regular season. Shedeur Sanders wins the starting quarterback job in Cleveland. Okay? And nobody's thinking that the Browns are going to be able to do anything this year. However, this guy comes in and he takes them to a 10-win season. 10 wins.
That would be sweet.
As a rookie. Very similar to what happened last year with Daniels in Washington. And he wins offensive MVP, Rookie of the Year, I should say. I don't even think the numbers would matter. I think if he starts the season and they win, like I said, 10 games, 9 games, whatever, push for the playoffs, and it's all everyone's seeing and talking about, I think that would put him in the category to win that award.
Bull, Jason, do you agree with Dustin? Is that the path?
I mean, that's the path, sure. He would have to have a great year and put up huge numbers.
I don't even know that the numbers matter. I think it's if he can get the team to. They won 3 games last year. If this kid comes in at quarterback, I know Jaden Daniels put up really ridiculous numbers.
Yeah.
But if I'm not listen, you're not winning 10 games if he's not putting up at least 225, 250 a game.
No. But they got to win games. He puts up the numbers. I mean, if he averages 250 yards a game and throws 15 touchdowns and 7 picks, we'll all be celebrating, and he could win Rookie of the Year.
No
Absolutely.
doubt.
Do we all agree he's 4th right now on the depth chart? You still think that? I don't know that it matters on May 22nd.
Honestly, do you want my opinion? I think Kenny Pickett's out of the mix.
Okay.
Wow.
So he's
Do you have inside information, or is that just opinion?
That's opinion. I have no more inside information with the Browns.
So you think he's 3rd?
I think that Flacco is going to be your starting quarterback going into this thing, unless there's a miracle in camp. And I think Gabriel and Shedeur are 2A, 2B.
If Shedeur would win the job week 1, that would be as stunning as anything else. I think, frankly. From where he's starting.
I think for us, maybe it would be. But
I think for them, too.
If I'd asked you before the draft, and the Browns, you're like, regardless of where they draft him at. But I think because there were people that thought that they would take him at 2.
Yeah. Right, but the fact that they drafted another quarterback ahead of him.
Right. That's why I'm saying. For Shedeur to leap him by week 1.
Yeah.
For Shedeur to blow him, if he has just a monster camp, joint practices, he's the best player on the field, great preseason, and wins the job week 1, that would be as stunning as anything else to me.
I would be pretty shocked if that happened.
I would too.
By week 1. I wouldn't be shocked if he played at some point in the season, certainly.
He better play at some point.
If he's starting week 1, But I'd be shocked if either of the rookies are starting week 1 because neither one was drafted high.
I'll tell you one thing. Fans are going to want to see number 12 out there.
Yeah, they are.
That's true. That is 100% accurate.
There's not many guys that people would go out and buy a jersey for a 5th-round pick of a quarterback who wasn't even the first quarterback taken.
But a good organization doesn't let what the fans want.
But we're not a good organization.
That is certainly true. That is certainly true. All right, next, Mike.
Next up, Jason, you are in the hot seat. The Cavs win the 2026 NBA championship. Jason, tell me how that happened.
See, I think both of the ones that you gave me are fairly realistic. Like, I don't think these are outrageous at all. How the Cavs win the 2026 championship. So Mike calls me this morning and goes, so here's your scenario. You can be realistic with it. You can be zany with it. You can do whatever you want. So let's have fun with this one. So the Cavs win the 2026 championship. Dan calls Jimmy and says, listen, give me Giannis. I'm going to give you Evan Mobley and Isaac Okoro and Dean Wade. You're going to have to take them, and I'll kick in $200 million for your stadium. So now you got Giannis in Cleveland. Yeah. And then you call LeBron. You say, hey, come get one more. So now LeBron comes back as a league minimum guy because that's all they can afford. So now you got Giannis, LeBron, Donovan, Darius, and Jared as your starting 5. That team's winning the NBA championship. Now, this is totally, like, I don't normally do this.
Yeah, that is very unlike you, Jason.
This is drunk and we're just having fun.
Yeah, drunken Jason. I like that.
A more realistic path is I absolutely I think they could win it next year. I'm not out on this team entirely just because they lost in the second round.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Indiana and New York. They're one of those teams is going to the NBA Finals and very well could win an NBA championship. You can't tell me that the Cavs can't beat either of those teams. I refuse to believe it. Like I still say, I know what Indiana did last night. I know what they've done. If the Cavs were fully healthy, I still think they win that series. But at some point, you do have to look at the injury history and say, this is part of the DNA. Do we have the guys that are capable and willing to play through when they're not at 100%? And that's a factor in the conversation. But I still like this team. And Giannis could leave the East this summer. I don't think he's coming here. But if Giannis goes west, if I'm Giannis, I want to stay in the East. I want no part of what's going on in the West. But if you're Milwaukee, you probably want to send him to the West. So if Giannis leaves the East, who's the boogeyman in the East that the Cavs have to get through? It doesn't exist.
I just think, and obviously some of this is prisoner of the moment, but I just think the team is too soft. The injury proneness is a part of who they are. And I don't think without changes to the roster past the top 2 guys, they can win as is. They've given you no reason to believe that they can win when it matters outside of Donovan. And I just wouldn't trade Evan Mobley. Unless I could get Giannis, I would trade Evan.
I wrote about it the other day. The realistic path, how does this team win a championship? Evan Mobley becomes your best player.
Right. I read that article.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't become the best player,
then they won't win. They're not going to win. It has to be Evan.
I'm not as convinced as you are that he's going to reach this ultimate level.
They should get rid of Garland.
We've talked about that. But here's the thing. And I'm glad you brought that up because, Jason, you've said a number of times, well, there's not that much out there for Garland. If Garland is that good, why can't they get anything for him?
It's a very point guard heavy league.
Yeah.
A lot of good teams already have point guards.
Yeah.
So it's not, if there was one guy that I would pluck out this team, it would be Jarrett. But it's hard to come up with a match that makes you better with a team that would want that player. It's easy in fantasy world to come up with trades and to make trades, but it's a lot harder in the league when you have to match salaries with everything else. Go through the list of all the top teams. Most of them already have really good point guards. So it just makes it a difficult match.
Is Chris Paul really the only old school pass first point guard left in the league?
Mike Conley.
And he's another really old.
He's old.
Conley was a rookie in 2006.
He was on Greg Oden's team, so.
Still good.
Yeah.
If you replaced Darius Garland with Chris Paul, the Cavs better?
No. Like
they don't get
prime
any scoring
Chris Paul
from
or
Chris
like
Paul.
Chris Paul today?
They don't get any scoring.
Chris Paul today?
Of course Chris Paul today.
Yeah, no, they're not better. What kind of asinine question is that?
Because Mike, you're looking at this only with like who's the better player, not the better team.
So you mean the guy who's never won anything in his 57-year career is going to somehow make the Cavs, who can't win anything right now, better?
That's fair.
Yeah, he really laid in you
Is
there.
Chris Paul the reason that is it his fault that his team?
Chris Paul averaged 8 points and 7 assists per game and shot 42% from the floor this year.
I didn't realize.
He's 40 years old, by the way.
He's old.
He's LeBron's
I'm desperate,
draft class.
guys.
But this is why.
That was a new level of desperation.
I'm sorry, but Darius Garland is not. You guys know this. You live it in La La with your basketball analytics. You know Darius Garland is not a winning player, and you will never win a championship with him as the key guy.
I heard the same thing about Kyrie, and then he hit the biggest shot of Cavs history.
He wouldn't have won shit without LeBron.
Absolutely not. But
He's
still
not
hit the
won
biggest,
anything without LeBron.
You're right, but he still hit the biggest shot in Cavs history.
Did.
So don't tell me that you can or you can't win with these guys. Yes, you can. I think you absolutely
But
can.
LeBron ain't walking through that door.
No, he's not. No.
Yeah.
That's why Evan has to be. And I'm not saying Evan is absolutely going to become that guy. I'm saying if the Cavs are going to win it, it's on him.
Who does he have to be? Give me the player comp that he has to
Anthony
become.
Davis.
Is he ever going to be that?
No.
Why not?
Because he's not Anthony Davis. He's a unicorn.
How many years into the league did Anthony Davis become Anthony Davis?
I mean, he wasted away in New Orleans for the first however many years of his career. He was in New Orleans for what, 6 years?
I don't know.
Anthony Davis year by year, and then we'll move on because we got a couple more of these. But he was, by his third year, he was really, really good. Third year, he was
about
averaging.
Mobley, it just doesn't click, and I don't know what it is. Everything he does, he makes it look difficult. I mean, he's so big, and I want him to be more skilled.
I think he's pretty skilled. I think he showed this year he's pretty
I just think he's too passive at times.
I'm not talking about him. Guy's an all-star. He's the defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's
got
a
an
bad,
MVP vote. Who gave him that
I'm
fifth
not
place
saying
MVP
the guy's
vote?
a bad player.
I didn't look at the list.
But you start
Did you
throwing
vote?
around Anthony Davis, he's not Anthony Davis, man.
What did Anthony Davis average his third year in the league?
On a very bad New Orleans team. So
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
he averaged 25 and 10.
Yeah, it's not a fair comparison because they sucked, and the Cavs. If the Cavs were a crappy team, he'd probably
Evan would
average
have better
25.
numbers. He'd have
They'd
bigger
be
numbers.
meaningless numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sick of Darius Garland. I want to move on from him.
All right, next one, Bull.
I wanna
We're going to
move on
get
from
to
this
the
question,
next.
too.
Tell me how.
Or Mike insults me again with my Chris Paul comments.
Bull, tell me how the
Go ahead.
Guardians land a legitimate all-star caliber power bat to its lineup. And before you answer, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Willie McCovey and Jamie Foxx have retired. You can't bring them into the
Did you
mix.
say J.D. Fox?
Jamie Foxx,
Oh.
they're retired. They are not eligible for this
Wise guy.
conversation. So, Bull, no, seriously, tell me, how do the Guardians land a legitimate power-hitting outfield bat to this lineup
So are we talking about this year?
this year?
They have to stop being scared. Let's face it. We have, to some degree, grandfathered in Chris Antonetti and Mike Chernoff as if they're great, so they can't be criticized. When the truth is, they've done a crappy job the last few years. And they've been bailed out by some overachieving. In certain spots, they got bailed out a few years ago by a bad division. This past, 2024, they got bailed out by some overachievements. But they don't spend money. When they have spent money in recent years, they've spent it poorly. When's the last guy they spent any money on that was a good player, that worked out well?
Encarnacion.
Worked out well.
That was a while ago.
That's my point.
I mean, they haven't spent a lot of money. Last year, they wasted it on Josh Bell. They wasted on Mike Zunino.
2 years ago was Bell.
2 years ago was Bell and Zunino.
Yep. Last year was Barlow.
Last year was Barlow, total waste. This year,
Santana
Seawald,
this year.
total waste.
Who hasn't been that good yet?
They spend money on Hedges. They have no money to spend. They spend it on a backup catcher. They spent on Carlos Santana. He stinks.
Encarnacion?
That's a
what
while.
he said.
They traded away Josh Naylor. And I said for the entire offseason, sign Gleyber Torres. They didn't sign him. He's been great for Detroit. Do you think you can use that bat in the lineup? Absolutely. He'd be hitting fourth or fifth for the Guardians right now. And if you had Josh Naylor and Gleyber Torres instead of Paul Seawald and Carlos Santana and Slade Ciccone, well, maybe the Guardians would be in better shape right now. So they got to stop being cowardly. They hold on to their prospects.
That's it. To me, that's
They
it.
hold on to their prospects Most of them have not panned out.
Yeah.
Think about the trade value. If you go back 3 years or 4 years, trade value you would have had for George Valera. Now he has no trade value.
Yeah.
Trade value you would have had for Danny Espino. Now he has no trade value. Trade value you would have had for Tyler Freeman, who they traded for Nolan Jones. Trade value you would have had for Gabriel Arias. Now he has little trade, if any, trade value. Rocchio. On and on. All these guys they didn't want to trade when they could have gotten some legitimate players, and none of them are any good right now.
They couldn't make a decision on who was a core player and who was a trade piece. They could never decide.
That's right.
Partly because none of them were any good.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they were struggling with. That's why they couldn't separate them, because none of them, it turns out, the Orioles have kind of gone through the same thing. The Orioles are stuck in that spot where they have all of these prospects.
And they should have traded for pitching. And now they have no pitching and they stink. And now the hitting's being asked to do too much and they're falling on their face.
To their credit, they did trade for Burns last year. But this offseason,
nothing.
They haven't done anything.
No.
And now they're fired their manager and the last place team.
And I'll agree with Ken. Big a controversy at our former radio station, 92.3 The Fan, as Ken Carmen and Anthony Lima on the morning show going to war with the midday show, Andy Baskin and Jeff Phelps.
Was it a pillow fight?
No, it was just Baskin was pissed off yesterday. But Ken is right, and I haven't said that very often. But Ken is right. Like, I'm not giving the Guardians credit for saving money. Like, we have a percentage of our fan base that, like, pumps their fist because the Guardians are fiscally smart. I don't give a crap about that.
Yeah.
And Ken was right on that angle. Like, okay, they saved money on Andres Jimenez, and he hasn't hit since the first week of the season. But you weaken your defense, and it's been noticeable this year. Their defense has been not as good as a whole this year, when that's been a staple of this franchise. You weakened your lineup by trading Josh Naylor. You know, and you didn't. Where'd you improve? All right, rotation may be a little better, but not significantly.
There's a lot riding on Ciccone because Naylor's having a big year.
Right.
Naylor's having a really good year for Arizona.
And I don't even want to hear about he would have walked. I don't care. I'm telling you, nobody's paying Josh Naylor a huge contract at the end of this year.
I get why they made the move. I told it, like, on a spreadsheet, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Why they did what they did. I get the Jimenez thing. The reason why, first of all, I think they didn't sign Gleiber because they've already got 15 middle infielders.
But he's good.
I know.
He's a proven hitter.
I know, but I think they thought Bizzano would be here by July or August. Obviously, that's not happening.
Yeah. No.
Bizzano's not going to be here till next May.
Next May. Yeah, that's what I said yesterday. Yeah.
He's not starting the year on the opening day roster now.
And like
they can buy another year of service time. They keep him in the minors.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's what they love doing. They're probably high-fiving each other in the front office.
No, I don't think that.
But it seems like that way sometimes.
I mean, Bizzano wasn't exactly tearing the cover off.
Like, why isn't Kafis in the majors?
Same reason Bobby Bradley wasn't in the majors. I'm just throwing that out there. Like Bradley, I remember Bradley's having monster numbers.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, call him up. When he came up and he struck out 15 times.
Then you find out.
Yes.
Then you find out. Let's go.
How much?
It's not like you have anybody, like these guys are hitting
I
here.
truly don't know. He came up as a first baseman, right? How much outfield has he played?
He's been playing this year. I don't know how much he played before.
That's what I'm saying.
Year.
Like, has it been all season long or has this been the last 2 weeks? Because I think they're probably trying to get him a little bit more comfortable with the outfield.
I know since he's been in AAA, he's been playing the outfield. I think he played a little in AA, but I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, if he's comfortable in right field, yeah. I mean,
what do you got to lose?
I mean, well, you got to if Thomas is coming off the IL, you got to make a move there.
Yeah.
Who are you sending down?
John Kenzie and Will Brennan. Send them both down.
I would send them both down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, DeLauder's on a rehab assignment.
Yeah, I mean, if the guys on the major league roster can't get it done, then give somebody else a chance.
Might as well.
I hope DeLauder's here by July. I think that's reasonable.
It should be. Will they do it? It depends how he performs. If he's
see.
killing it in AAA, he should be here too. Let's go. If the guys who are here can't get it done, we've seen enough failure for these guys.
Yeah.
It's enough. It's time. So to get back to the original question, they got to trade prospects, and if that means they got to trade Chase DeLauder, I don't give a crap. Give me proven hitters. I'm sick of saying, well, I can't trade this guy. Well, most of your hitting prospects have not panned out. So don't tell me you can't trade Chase DeLauder or anybody else for a guy who's a proven hitter. If it's a proven major league hitter that has at least 2 years left on his contract and is not too old, then make a freaking trade. Now, I don't know if there's that many guys like that available right now because you'd have to go to a bad team, and most of those teams don't have players like that. But if you could get Luis Robert, he's on team control for 3 years.
Yeah.
I know he's struggling, but
I'd love to see Luis Robert in Cleveland.
and I don't care, whatever. Give up. I don't care what they have to give up. His price has got to be down a little bit.
All right.
I don't care if they have to give up their best pitching prospect, DeLauder. Let's go. Give me a proven hitter.
I like it, Bull. All right, Dustin, back to you.
Yes, sir.
Ohio State repeats as national champions. Tell me how we do that.
I mean, it's sort of a pretty simple math equation here. I mean, they don't even have to. I mean, they can lose a game or two in the regular season, and still you got to make the 12-team playoff. I mean, that's the deal. We saw what happened this past season. It was a disappointing loss to Michigan at the end of the year. It was a disappointing loss to Oregon early in the season on the road, and you still had a path once you got into the college football playoff. The team, I think Ryan Day, now that he has this natty under his belt,
all the pressure's off.
Pressure is off of him. Like it is.
He'll still be there for the Michigan game until he wins that.
Yeah. I mean, he does have him. He beat him one time.
That's
but
true,
I mean, listen. Here's the thing. I think that Ryan Day, as long as he coaches at Ohio State, will probably win another couple of natties.
I mean, Ohio State's got more money or as much money as any team in the country.
Yeah,
so
now the playing field eventually will level with some of the NIL stuff. Is you'll get some. I think eventually guardrails will come on there, come on to the NIL stuff. But look, they're going to be fine. They got to find a quarterback. They got a couple of dudes competing right now. I'm not sure if it's going to be
what's the competition?
Lincoln or what's the other kid's name?
You know, Mike?
Julian Sane.
What's that?
Julian Sane.
Julian
Sane, yeah.
Sane.
Where are these kids from?
They both were pretty good.
Are they transfers?
Sane was a transfer from Alabama.
One kid's a freshman.
And Lincoln was a 4-star recruit from like North Dakota, and then there's another guy in there that I'm drawing a blank on. It was St. Clair, the freshman, right? It's his name, Tavon St. Clair.
I'm not even positive. I know that in the spring game, Sane and Lincoln were the two kids that were competing, and both looked pretty good. Listen, our defense is going to be really, really good. Matt Patricia's already seems to be putting a nice footprint on the defense.
Right.
Caleb Downs is back. I mean, our defense.
Who's the running back this year? They have a clear number one guy or no? We're kind of out of college football mode.
You're asking me to go through the depth chart right now, and I don't even know who's on what team.
They always have good running backs.
Yeah,
I'm
they
sure
do.
they got.
But they obviously lost their top two guys. So.
The main,
you got the best receiver in the country.
The main point is it's Ohio State. They're going to have a huge payroll for their NIL.
Yeah.
Their coach now doesn't have to worry about his job security.
Yep.
Regardless of what happens with the team up north.
That's true.
I mean, they're going to be in, whether they're the favorite or one of the top 5 favorites to win the national championship, they will be one of those teams for the next decade.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Mike, next.
Bull, you're back up.
Okay.
Tell me how the Browns have 3 skill position Pro Bowlers by the end of next season, the 2026 season. Tell me how.
I hope Jerry Jeudy's one of them. I hope he's in that conversation.
Yeah. Well, he could be, but
after remember the war last year over.
Oh yeah, and I was proven right once again.
He got a vote. You were literally proven wrong, considering he got votes.
No.
If he had a vote, we're not going to go back into it.
Well,
Bull, tell me how they get 3 skill position Pro Bowlers at the end of the 26th season.
Jerry Jeudy. So here's how it happens. One of the rookie quarterbacks, and I'm going to. I think when we think of skill position, we usually think running back, wide receiver, tight end, but I'll include quarterback. Obviously, it takes a lot of skill. One of the rookie quarterbacks becomes a star. Obviously, it would be an upset for a 3rd and 5th round pick, but we'll say Shedeur Sanders, because that's exciting, becomes a superstar as a rookie. Quinshon Judkins becomes a superstar as a rookie running back, rushes for 1,400 yards as a rookie. And then, because you don't have to draft a quarterback next year, if Quinshon Judkins is great and Shedeur Sanders is great, well, the Browns won't have as high a pick as I thought. But Jacksonville's going to stink because Trevor Lawrence is a fraud. And you're going to have their first-round pick, and with it, you will draft the next great wide receiver. And that's how you have your 3 Pro Bowl skill position players.
But I thought the question was for this year.
No, by the end of
By
next
the end of next year.
End of
Next year.
Okay.
By the end of 26. There it is.
I had a different one for Bull, but he said he didn't like it. He liked that one better. So
Yeah.
What was the other
by
one?
the end of next
I don't remember.
season.
What was the other one again?
How they end up with 2 top 5 picks in this year's draft.
Yeah, I mean,
Basically, how
just
does
what's there to
everything?
discuss?
No,
They
I
end
just
up with
wanted
two top
to.
five
I
picks
wanted
and
you to
both teams
detail
suck.
and give people a map of what could go wrong for 2 different situations. But
Yeah, well,
When you mentioned Trevor Lawrence, I saw something the other day. His numbers and Daniel Jones are almost identical.
really.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, like Daniel Jones, he's only had one good year.
But I mean, when you think of Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones,
Oh, my God,
you
yeah.
don't think of
No.
comparable quarterback
Even
play.
as disappointing as Lawrence has been, you would have guessed he's still been a lot better than Daniel Jones.
I'm telling you, I wish I'd have sent it to you guys or bookmarked it or something. I don't
Yeah.
remember now where I saw it, but like freaky how
and,
close the
and
numbers.
he's
were.
had pretty solid talent around them at wide receiver and running back.
Yeah.
You know, and tight end. They had Evan Ingram.
They had- yeah.
You know, so
Great point,
they've had
yeah.
good talent around them. But, you know, now he's got Travis Hunter.
yeah, he
guys-
better have a good season. They spent a lot of money and put a lot of pieces
Yeah.
around him
Do you
to
see people are
accelerate
knocking-
his growth and make him a franchise quarterback. It's
People
on
are-
him.
People are knocking
They're
it.
not going what?
Travis's route running ability.
I hadn't seen that.
You've
no.
seen like clips on that? Like,
No.
not really a great route runner there.
No.
All right,
Well,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah.
I remember people saying Jamar Chase had bad hands his first training camp.
Looks like they're okay.
Yeah. I remember people making a big deal because he had a lot of drops in training camp
Yeah.
that year.
And remember,
Well,
he said the
listen, if
football
you
was a
played
little
receiver
different.
in college, and now you get to the league. It's a little different with guys who are in your back pocket,
Yeah.
as opposed to running routes against a lot of zone coverage where there's not tight coverage. Yeah, you can get away with a lot more at college. So I think he'll develop. Dude, he's such a freak athlete.
Yes.
Like, just give that kid.
He'll be fine.
Yeah.
I
And
think he'll
everybody
be fine.
knew
Can we
he
give the
had
kid-
things to learn.
Give the kid
Yeah.
more than like 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. It's
Jeez Louise.
off-season rookie minicamp.
Yeah.
All right, last one, Jason. Tell me how the Guardians can catch the Tigers and repeat as AL Central champions.
I'll kind of touch on this a little bit with Bull's question about prospects and all that. I mean, there's 6 games out right now. I do think the pitching is turning a corner. Obviously, Gavin's last start yesterday was great. Bibby's been up and down. I think he's going to be fine. Ortiz looks like he's solid. He's going to be
Yeah.
fine. They got to get more.
Lively had pitched great before he got hurt.
He did. You know, if you're counting on Bieber coming back July or August, you're just trying to stay within striking distance until all these guys, until you get David Fry back,
Yeah.
until you get Shane Bieber back. Whether it's Kafis or
DeLauder.
DeLauder or one of these guys.
Or both.
What you can't do is I mean, this next 2 weeks are brutal. You can't be 11, 12 games out.
No.
By-
Well, how about if it goes the opposite way? They sweep a 4-game set for the Tigers. They're 2 games out.
They're 2 games out.
Yeah.
And now if you hold serve against the Dodgers and
Yeah.
even if you lose 2 or 3, you just don't get swept.
Yeah.
You're right in the mix. I think Detroit's playing above their skis a little bit.
They are. I agree.
I still actually think the Royals might be the best team in the division when they're healthy.
Detroit shouldn't be this good.
No, I mean it's
Not winning 2/3 of their games good.
Yeah, their bullpen has been really good. I don't think
Yeah.
their relievers are as good as they're performing right now. Gleiber's been huge for them. Spencer Torkelson's been amazing
Baez.
for them. Baez has come out of nowhere.
He's back from the dead.
Is this sustainable?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Torkelson might be.
He might be. I
you
don't know
because
if
he
Baez
was obviously
is.
he was the first overall pick, but yeah,
So
I mean,
I think there's going to be some regression from Detroit at
Yeah.
some point. But it's all these other teams that you got to get through too. It's
Right.
I've never been big on Minnesota. I've always been more of a Kansas City. But I mean,
Minnesota's not bad.
No, they're not, and
Yeah.
they're not 13 out of 14 either.
No.
I don't think they're
No.
that good. But I mean, Daniel Schneeman's your second baseman. He's your third best hitter right now.
Yeah.
How
third
is
best
that
hitter.
sustainable?
No.
So
Definitely not.
Yeah. So I think that they do need to make a move at the deadline if they're really going to stay in the division rate. There's a difference. There's a different conversation, wild card and division. To run down the division, they probably need to add another hitter. But maybe Fry and some combination of DeLauder and Kafis. Really 2 bats. If you get 2 and Lane Thomas coming back as well, I should have mentioned him. If you can get 2 more legitimate bats, I think this lineup looks much different than it does right now. It's not out of their own possibility, but I think the next 2 weeks really could play a key role. Again, wild card conversation is totally different than the division.
Yeah.
But if you're 12 games out,
then you're
middle
probably
of
not winning
June,
the division.
you're probably already buried.
Do you want to spend a few minutes talking about how great Matthew Boyd has been this year?
Good for him. Good for him. He's been great.
Cleveland fixed him.
He was never very good. He was never
mediocre.
Very good. And maybe he figured something. Maybe the Guardians figured something out while he was here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have you seen the stat comparison of the 8 starts he made for the Guardians and the 8 starts he's made for the Cubs so far this year? The numbers are exactly the same.
That's incredible.
Pretty much like 1 strikeout difference.
I thought that contract was totally insane.
Yeah.
But hey, if it works out for Chicago, good on them. They are in a position to where they can take risks like that. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't cripple the entire franchise.
Right. That's true.
Like it does here.
All right, let's move on, guys. Get to our next topic. As a small business owner, your work doesn't end when the clock hits 5. Your business, it's always on your mind, which means when it's time to hire, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do. That's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates all in one place. You can post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That is linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. To post your job for free, terms and conditions apply.
We talking about your boy Jerry Jeudy now?
We are going to talk about Jerry Jeudy. PFF put out its top 32 receivers for the upcoming season. And I want to run through the entire list first, Bull, to see where Jerry Jeudy lands. And then after we talk about Jerry Judy's placement, we can argue some of the other placements of other receivers. But this is PFF's top 32 receivers broken down into tiers for the upcoming 2025 NFL season. Let me run through these all at first, then we can debate. In Tier 1, PFF has A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase.
How is A.J. Brown number 1?
I told you, let me go through the whole. You couldn't even get through one slide. Let me get through the whole list, then we can debate.
Ridiculous.
Tier number 2, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, and Tyreek Hill. In Tier 3, they have more than just these 5. Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Drake London, Malik Neighbors, Garrett Wilson. Also in Tier 3, T. Higgins, Brian Thomas Jr., and Devontae Adams. In Tier 4, PFF has Devontae Smith, Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle. Continuing in Tier 4, they have Lad McConkey, DK Metcalf, Chris Olave. In Tier 5, Zay Flowers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith and Jigba, Rashee Rice, and Josh Downs. And last but not least in Tier 6, Deebo Samuel, Cortland Sutton, and Jamison Williams. As you notice, Jerry Jeudy was not in PFF's top 32 receivers.
That's all they had on their list was 32?
Top 32, correct.
Yeah.
Bull, do you have an issue with Jerry Jeudy not being one of the 32 top receivers for the upcoming season?
I've been the least Jerry Jeudy guy of this team, and yet I would have him on my top 32. Show me tiers 5 and 6 again, please, Mike.
All right, we're gonna pull up Tier 5.
Tier 5.
Zay Flowers.
Yeah, you don't have to read it. Yeah, let me. Can we see it?
Yeah, it just takes a sec for Steve to punch the button.
All right.
So while he's doing that, it's Zay Flowers, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith and Jigba, Rashee Rice, and Josh Downs.
I mean, I would rather have any of those guys over Jerry Jeudy, personally.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could argue the Josh Downs one, maybe.
How much, I wonder, is quarterback play playing into this list as well?
Can we see that list one more time?
That one.
I mean, who does Jackson Smith and Jigba have?
Darnold, didn't he?
Darnold, yeah.
I mean,
For what it's worth,
yeah.
this is, according to the article,
Yeah.
quote, using a combination of advanced data, film evaluation, and scheme analysis to generate our list of the top 32 wide receivers entering the 2025 season.
Rashee Rice was hurt last year. Marvin Harrison doesn't have a great quarterback. Kyler Murray, he's okay.
That feels low for Harrison.
Josh Downs doesn't have a quarterback either. He wasn't great as a rookie last year. He was, not great. What's the last tier? Tier 6?
Tier 6,
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel, Cortland Sutton, and Jamison.
Yeah, I mean, he's in that
He's in
group.
there,
He should be in that group. I'd actually probably take him over any of those guys. I think I might take him over those. Deebo Samuel, I don't know how much he's got left in the tank. What did Deebo do last year? Wasn't he hurt?
Not a lot.
Him and Cortland were pretty.
Yeah, not good last year.
When they were both in Denver, they were sort of the same, were they not?
Right. I mean, and what did Cortland Sutton do last year?
Cortland Sutton last year?
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton last year had 81 receptions, 1,081 yards, and 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, and he had a better quarterback situation than the Browns did.
Yeah.
I know it was a rookie, but he played really well. Jamison Williams is on a great offense, and he's kind of been a disappointment to this. I mean,
You could put Judy 32.
yeah, I mean
You could
he's
put him
somewhere
31,
between
32.
28 and 32. That's where he is.
Yeah.
He put up great yardage numbers last year.
With
And-
Jameis thrown to him.
Yeah, and Mike and Earl and I can't remember who else, maybe G. Bush and Jay decided that because Jerry Jeudy was in the top 8 or 10 in yardage, that meant he was a Pro Bowl wide receiver.
He had like 4 really good games.
Yeah, and he didn't score a lot of touchdowns.
Nobody did.
Yeah, I
Look at the
mean, like
offense.
that's why I thought the whole conversation about the Pro Bowl was stupid.
I mean, that Ravens
'Cause you-
game right there, the Browns got smoked.
Yeah.
Didn't he have like 100 and something yards? I mean, like
I don't remember, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of games where
Jerry
he
Jeudy
could've
had a
done
fine
nothing.
season, but he wasn't a Pro Bowl receiver. You guys are just
He was
basically
absolutely a Pro Bowl receiver. You're arguing All-Pro, and now you're mixing up your own terminology.
well, he certainly was not an All-Pro, but he shouldn't have been a Pro Bowler either. He just went based on yardage. The rest of his game wasn't very impressive, but he's fine.
So you have no real issue with him being excluded from this list.
Well, I would have had him. He'd make my top 32, but
At the very bottom. Like it's
Yeah, but
nothing
near
to,
the bottom.
It's nothing to storm the gates.
who else are you
over.
going to put him
So
on
he's
ahead
in
of?
tier. No, I'm just curious. He's in tier 6 for you guys then.
Yes.
Is he
Yeah.
in that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Samuel,
Dustin, tier 6.
Sutton,
Tier 6,
Jamison
100%.
Williams
Yeah, I mean,
category.
I'm not a snub. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
He's not snubbed.
Would you take him over any of the guys in tier 5?
Maybe.
I mean, 5.
Yeah.
Josh, I think he's in that. Josh
Josh Downs?
Downs, you can make a case for, I think.
I mean, Downs could easily be in 6.
He could be a 6-2. Now, he's also playing with a bad quarterback situation.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a good quarterback either.
Are we sure Ladd McConkey's better than him?
Oh,
I
is
said
that a
sure.
serious question?
I just said, are you sure?
Oh, yeah. I'm 100%
Yeah.
sure that there is. If you ask that question to any GM in the league, they're laughing in your face.
Oh, I didn't ask.
That's
the
as
GM.
bad as my Chris Paul take, by the way.
Everyone
I didn't
in
ask
the world
the GM.
knew they
I
were
said, are
throwing
you
to that
sure?
guy, and they still couldn't cover him.
Dude, what did he put up for his rookie year, stats-wise?
I didn't say it. I asked.
What did he catch? 110 balls? 120
I mean,
balls?
and they had
Ladd
nobody.
McConkey had 82 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 7
yeah,
touchdowns.
it's insane.
7 touchdowns. As a rookie with nobody else on that team.
But Justin Herbert.
Yeah, he had right, but Justin Herbert wasn't like a prolific quarterback last year.
Do you love DJ Moore? I can never tell how I feel about DJ Moore.
DJ Moore's a good player. He's mostly played with bad quarterbacks too.
I think he's rated
still
too
in
high
Chicago?
overall on this list.
Yeah.
You want to talk about some of the other spots, just not Jerry Jeudy related?
Well, start from the beginning.
yeah, Steve, go back to
First
the,
of all, A.J. Brown's not better than Justin Jefferson or
I agree
That's
with
why.
that.
Jamar
That's why I
Chase.
asked you to let me get through them all.
Yeah,
'cause
that
I
was
knew
crazy.
Initially, you were going to get thrown off.
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, A.J. Brown's fantastic, but Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are
Are
the
the
two
two
best
best receivers in the league? Yes.
And you want to put A.J. Brown third, fine. I mean, who's the second group?
tier 2.
Yeah.
Steve, take tier 2, please.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I'd actually put C.D. Lamb in Group 1. I think I'd actually put C.D. Lamb third and then A.J. Brown fourth for me. I think Puka Nacua is too high. To me, he's not the 5th best receiver in the league. He's excellent, but not number 5. I mean, he's not better than Nico Collins. He's not better than Tyreek Hill even at this point. I mean, I guess Tyreek Hill's towards the end. For me. Anybody else have issue with that?
I'm not as high on Nico Collins as you are.
Oh, okay. And what's tier 3, Mike? Let's look at that again.
Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Drake
Yeah, that's a
London,
good group.
Malik Neighbors, Garrett
It feels
Wilson.
like you're hitting a fall off here, though, doesn't it? Like,
From tier 2?
yes.
Yeah, sure.
The gap between 1 and 2 is smaller than the gap between 2 and 3.
I mean, Mike Evans is just the most steady,
Yes.
high level.
Yes. These
Wide-
are
He's
very
going to
good.
play till he's 40, I think.
These are very good receivers, but it
Now,
feels like
Malik
there's a
Neighbors
drop.
and Garrett Wilson have the ability to get higher,
Absolutely,
but they haven't played. They played with terrible quarterbacks for the most part.
These guys are also tier 3, by the way.
Yeah.
Devontae's still a tier 3.
Yeah, I think you make case Brian Thomas is as good as Garrett Wilson and Malik
I was going to
Neighbors.
say Brian Thomas. Feel like
Well, I mean,
he could be
he's
in
literally
tier
2
2.
spots
That's all the
behind
same tier. That's
bowl.
just they
It's
didn't
the
all
same
fit
tier.
Oh, it's the same tier.
Same
Yeah,
tier,
okay.
yes.
Oh, that is the same tier. Okay,
Right.
sorry.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think Malik Neighbors, if he had a good quarterback, could be a top 5 receiver.
There's a lot of those younger guys I'd rather have over Devontae Adams.
Yeah, but Devontae still produces. But I agree with you. I actually like Neighbors, Wilson, and Thomas all better than Drake London for me. Not that Drake London's not really good. He is, but.
All right, tier 4.
Yeah.
Steve, keep going. Down 2. This is tier 4. Devontae Smith, Chris Godwin, Ayuk, DJ Moore, who I don't know how. Honestly, God, I have no idea how I feel about DJ Moore. Jalen Waddle, and then there's a couple more guys in this same tier: McConkey, Metcalf, and Olave.
Yeah, it feels like Metcalf should be on a higher tier, but the talent is through the roof. He hasn't produced at a higher tier. But I might have him.
I like some of those 4 guys better than some of those 3 guys.
I mean, well, some of these guys who are young, you'd rather have like over Devontae Adams or whatever. But DK Metcalf is again in a situation with a bad quarterback. He's never played on a big passing offense.
Yeah.
Chris Olave's been a bit of a disappointment.
So
far.
Is Rodgers going to go to Pittsburgh or no?
I mean, that's been the assumption for a while.
I think so.
There's no way they're going into the year with Mason Rudolph as their quarterback.
Right, but you never know. I mean,
with Rodgers, you're one snap away from Mason.
With Rodgers, who knows if he may just say, "I don't want to play anymore." I mean, who knows with him? He marches to the beat of his own drummer. But I assume because of the way they've handled the quarterback situation.
Yes,
I'm assuming they assume he's going to be playing for them.
I would make that assumption as well, Bull.
Yeah.
So
all right.
No one's up in outrage over Jerry Jeudy, and that is okay.
Are
Bull,
any of our fans outraged?
I haven't checked, to be honest with you. I was looking at different stats. So I'll look and get that at the end. But, Bull, before we get to our last topic, touch on Menu RX, please.
Yeah, Menu RX is great. Dr. Jake May and his crew, scientists, doctors, nutritionists, people that study weight loss, study metabolism, study food and the effects on different bodies. When you go with a big box, diet plan, or if you get a diet plan or a fitness plan from the internet, from some random dude you don't even know, I'm not saying they couldn't help some people, but one size doesn't fit all when it comes to health, metabolism, weight loss. Menu RX works with you as an individual. They design a plan to help you for your specific needs, your specific goals, and your specific body. They study your metabolism. They use actual science to help you get the ultimate body. And right now, if you visit menu-rx.com, schedule your consultation and experience what the metabolic testing can do for you. If you sign up for a Menu RX plan, you'll get a free year-long UCSS subscription. $60 value, absolutely free. Health insurance may cover it. You could use your HSA or FSA payments if you have those. So go to menu-rx.com and get that free year-long subscription to UCSS. Stop guessing and start unlocking your full potential.
Speaking of unlocking full potential, boy, that was an unintentional perfect lead into our final topic of the day. Jason wrote a column on The Athletic about for the Cavs to reach their full potential.
Yes.
It is imperative that Evan Mobley becomes their best player. We talked about it a little while ago in the Tell Me How segment. But when we talk about Evan Mobley taking that next step, Jason, in your mind, what does that next step actually look like for Evan?
It looks like Anthony Davis. I think that's the player he has to become, where he's already obviously a very good defensive player. He continues in that realm, develops continues to develop a three-point shot. Maybe even Bosch is a better comp than Anthony Davis. If he becomes that type of player where they are looking for him more on the offensive end, and it's hard. The trick is going to be with two ball-dominant guards. How do you incorporate him more? And he has to be more demonstrative. He has to call for the ball more. They have to make it more of a focal point of not only getting him to the spots where he's comfortable, but running the offense through him, letting him initiate at times, which he's done. We've seen him. How many times did we see him block a shot at one and bring the ball up the floor, go behind the back, and hit a three at the other end? There aren't many dudes in the league that can move the way he can move and can do what he can do at his size. So I don't know if, like if we're going to put numbers on it, then yeah, he's got to average mid-20s and double-digit rebounds. And I think that's very doable. But when he becomes the guy who can carry this team through a game, that's when they will reach their full potential. And I'm not sitting here declaring that he's going to do that. I believe he has it in him. I'm not saying it's a sure thing, but I believe we have 8 years of evidence of Donovan Mitchell-led teams.
Right.
You know how far they go. They go to the second round. And I don't mean that as a knock on Donovan. That's not a criticism of him. This is just the way the league is built. When you have undersized guards, look at the way that he played, and he gave you everything he had in that Pacers series.
Yeah.
And it wasn't enough to beat a 4 seed.
But let me ask you this, Jason. You talk about, you can't win when your best player is a small guard.
Yeah.
And you're right. For the most part, there haven't been a lot of teams that have won that way. But who's the last team that won where their best player was a big man who needed someone to facilitate the offense to him?
Well, that's a good point. That's a fair point. But I don't know that necessarily he's not inept.
No, he's not. He showed that this year.
He could create his own. They have to give him that opportunity to do that.
So how do you make that happen, in other words?
By Donovan is continuing to pull back. Darius has to pull back, and you have to let Evan go. You have to let Evan eat.
So going back to the Darius thing again, does trading away Darius make it easier for Evan Mobley to become better?
Possibly, yeah.
Because now you only have one ball dominant guy.
But you have to replace him with somebody. And the Cavs like having multiple creators in the backcourt.
Right.
There was the Colin and Darius thing. Now it's Darius and Donovan thing. The way that they like to build this is they don't want everything running through one guy because it's too easy to load up on that guy. They want multiple guys. My point, I don't know if you're ever going to see Evan as LeBron standing at the top of the key, initiating everything, creating everything. But I think he has that in him to do that on multiple possessions in a game. I don't know that you want to run everything through him, but I think you need to give him more opportunities to do that.
I have something I want to chime in here. So when you look at Evan and certain areas he can improve, I think there are a couple of things that if he improves in these areas, he'd be a better overall offensive threat. On mid-range shots this year, so not at the rim, not threes, he was only 38%, which surprised me. I felt like the eye test told me he was a lot better from the mid-range. That 28/100, that's percentile. So that was in the 28th percentile of all forwards and bigs in the league, which is not good enough. Evan, I think, is an opportunity to facilitate from the high post, shoot over guys from the high post, and create opportunities for himself from the high post, but you're not going to get a lot of opportunities if you're shooting what's a lot of teams, and the Cavs included, consider the worst shot in basketball at a sub-40 clip. That area he has to improve upon. He was really good from the corners this year on threes. His overall three-point percentage was 37.5%. He was 44% on corner threes. He was only 36 on non-corner threes. Those above-the-break threes, the pick-and-pop situations, he's got to become more consistent in. And the one thing Evan did very well this year, which we saw a gigantic improvement, was his ability to take guys off the dribble, right? Going downhill. But only 52% of his shots came at the rim. I understand that it kind of goes counteractive with shooting the mid-range and the non-corner threes, but Evan's at his best when he puts his head down and he's attacking slower big men. I don't know what that number has to be. Maybe it's 60%, but when he's attacking downhill, the usage rate goes up. It frees up space for other shooters. I want to see Evan start attacking more, getting more looks at the rim, which means he has the ball in his hands to facilitate more frequently.
Shouldn't most of those mid-range shots become shots at the rim?
I'd be all for that, yes.
And how many non-corner...
Real quick, I think that mid-range is actually up significantly from where it was. I mean, he was dreadful.
Yeah.
I can tell you 1 second.
2 years ago. Look up last year. I think it was really bad.
His mid-range.
Yeah.
Evan Mobley last year. No, this is... Hold on. I got to get this.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, how many non-corner threes did he take? Are we talking about a lot of shots?
I can tell you, he took 181.
Non-corner threes?
Correct. He was 65 of 181.
Do we want to see that number significantly drop next year? Is it about being better at it?
Yes.
Or is it about taking less of it?
No. He only took 48 corner threes.
It needs to go up, not down.
In terms of his attempts?
His volume, yeah. It needs to go up.
Okay.
It's continuing.
And
this year was a big leap for him
Yeah.
in terms of shooting three. I feel like the second half of last season, you started to see it a little bit, and he really sort of broke through this year.
Yeah.
That you don't diminish that. That needs to continue to grow.
Well, I guess part of that is the better he becomes at three, the more they're going to guard him, and the more his ability to take it to the basket.
Yeah.
Right, from there.
Exactly.
Plus,
Play
just being a
hand in
weapon
hand.
is the three-point shooter.
Sure, right.
And if he has the gravity to pull guys out even more, and you can watch the Pacers-Knicks series,
Yeah.
look at how differently Indiana guards pick and rolls when it's Robinson versus Karl Anthony Towns. Night and day.
Right.
Now, one's a complete non-shooter versus one of the best shooting bigs the NBA's ever seen. So it's not like good to great, but his ability to pull guys out of the paint opens up so many driving lanes and spacing for Donovan and Darius and Ty and whoever else is out there. That, I think, is an area when we look at this. What's this leap look like? A lot of it's aggression. And he has to demand the ball more. Bull, we had that discussion on the show, I think, on Monday about how do you get him the ball more. It's on the players, It's on Evan, it's on coaching, it's a collective effort. A lot of the aggression comes from Evan knowing he's taking the shots he's supposed to take. They kind of go hand in hand.
All right, did you ever figure out his
I did. Yeah, Jason's wrong, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Oh, he got worse?
He shot 42% from the mid-range last year. According to Cleaning the Glass, he shot 38% this year.
How many mid-range jumpers mid-range shots did he take?
245. He was 92 of 245.
And how many shots at the rim did he take?
427.
There was some
Yeah,
percentage.
there's got to be a bigger gap between that, no?
Yes. I want to see him getting downhill as much as possible.
Right. I want to see like 500 shots at the rim.
I want to just see overall shots up. His
Right,
usage
right.
rate
Well, yeah,
was
okay.
at 22% this year.
Yeah.
I want to see the 27, 28% next year.
And it can't go down in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
Right.
it,
that
exactly.
can't happen.
And it went down to 17% against Indiana.
Oof.
Like that can't happen at all. Inexcusable.
Right.
All right, super chats. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We got three
Ready
today.
for this? Bum, bum, bum.
The first two come from Gleazy Baby 42,
Sure.
and they are tied together. From Gleazy Baby 43. Sorry, not 42, 43.
Let's get that right, Mike.
I don't know if it is intentional by you guys, but when regarding the quarterback room and P squad, you can protect players on practice squad. It's an important caveat to know.
No, you can.
They still have to pass through waivers.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just reading. Next
Yeah,
one,
guy has to pass through waivers to get on the practice squad.
Gleazy Baby also says, protect rookies as you shuffle quarterbacks across emergency practice squad. You guys are saying that's incorrect?
What's that?
You guys are saying that's incorrect?
There was something last year that they added in with protecting guys on the practice squad. I can't remember the exact circumstances where that happens, but initially to get on the practice squad, you do have to clear through waivers.
Yeah.
Correct. But a team has to, if they want to sign you, so if you are on a practice squad and someone
Yeah.
wants to sign you to their active roster,
They have
they have to sign you for a minimum of 3 games. That's
Right.
that's different. That's another thing. But
You do have the option
if you
to
get
decline,
cut,
too.
right.
you do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess there's circumstances where you would decline to stay on a
Right.
P squad, but for the most part, you would
Yeah,
think
because they
guys
pay you more
right.
money.
Well,
But
yeah.
to
That'd
initially
be a
get
good
on the
one.
practice squad, you have to be cut first.
Yes, cut and clear waivers.
Yes.
I was in Philly. We had a kid on the practice squad with me, and,
Yeah.
and he was making like $300,000 a year on the practice squad.
Yeah.
And other teams wanted to sign him.
Yeah.
And
you
he
just stay in
stayed.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, Mike.
Last super chat comes from Skilly, who says, I believe toughness can definitely be taught, but it has to be taught at a young age. If I wasn't a coach's son, I probably wouldn't have been as tough and probably not as successful. I 100% agree with Dustin on this one.
Yeah, about the coach's son thing.
Yep.
No doubt.
Yep.
Yeah, that helps.
So Shedeur should be pretty tough then.
I mean, last year
I think he's
Colorado
proven it,
should
by the
prove
way.
how tough he is.
I think he's already proven it.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the crap kicked out of him. But some of that's on him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that there's something to be said. We all think Dion is this kind of kook in some ways.
Yeah.
And maybe he is. I don't know the guy personally. But you don't get to where you are and have that much success if you don't have some sort of work ethic. And I do think that those kids probably have been, given a lot just because of who they are. But I'm guessing that Shedeur Sanders is going to know how to work.
Oh yeah.
If he doesn't, he's not going to make it.
I'd be
so.
very surprised if he.
Yeah.
And also, you don't have the success he had at two different universities.
Right.
The way he did.
Right.
So
it's not like he's the freak athlete that his dad is.
I mean, he didn't get drafted because his dad was a great corner.
Well, certainly not. No. In fact, people were, I think, overly critical of his athletic ability because it's in comparison to his dad, it wasn't anywhere close. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think the work ethic is an issue. I guess we'll find out if he ultimately is talented enough to be a quality starting quarterback in the league. All right, that's going to do it for us today. What do we got coming up in overtime, Mike?
We're going to figure it out in the next 3 minutes because we got all our topics in. I didn't think we were going to do that. I was going to save
Make
one
sure
for
you go to
Pete,
menu-rx.com. You can get if you sign up, free membership to UCSS to watch our overtime segments, which are coming up next.
Peace.